Hello everyone, very warm good evening to all of you. We are very happy to see you on the fourth day of this 6 days executive development program by committee members in industry and business. My sincere gratitude to ICAI President CNAR Jambusaria sir, ICAI Vice President CA Dr. Devashish Mitra sir. This program under the vision of our chairman of the committee, CA Hansraj Chuk sir, and Vice Chairman CA Durgesh Kabra sir, has been a great success with your participation. Today, on this day, we will be having 3 speakers talking on diverse topics starting from voice and communication, negotiation skills, and leadership lessons from the corporate world. I know that you all have many questions which relates to small firm experience or multiple attempts. We have answered those in many times, and every speaker who has come here has told you that keep your confidence high and that will make a difference. Also, you have many questions regarding the roles in Big Fours in global delivery services kind of a roles. Those questions have also been answered. But if it's still not there, we will try to answer this tomorrow when we have a panel discussion on opportunities abroad and careers in different industries. And so therefore, considering the skills which we are talking about, you all have doubts regarding communication also, and it's very important. So let us, in the first session, focus on communication. In the second session, let us focus on negotiation. In the third session, let us focus on leadership. Because I always say that communication and leadership are the 2 wings which help us to succeed. And once you grow in your career, you will be doing complex negotiations. And until and unless we have those negotiation skills, it won't be easy for us. So let us try to learn on these 3 things, and allow me to introduce our first speaker. Our speaker, Mr. Ram Mohan M. Rai, is a founder and general manager of Berkyon Learning Solutions, which is an independent consultant in the field of learning and development. He splits his time between Qatar and India. He has a vast experience which lies in the field of learning and development, wherein he has devoted more than 30 years for Qatar Petrochemical Company, where as a learning and development specialist, his role encompassed the whole gamut of learning with the objective of realizing training needs of an organization that employed more than 1,200 people. Ram Mohan Rai's experience has been inside out of the training process, from identification to implementation, design and delivery, evaluation and analysis. He says people are passionate with him, and the business of development of people is a very rewarding one. He was awarded the Best Employee Award by the Qatar Petrochemical Company in the year 2010. In the course of discharging his duties as a learning and development professional, Ram Mohan Rai has dispensed several training courses in the team building, communication and interpersonal skills, time and stress management, customer service, leadership domain. He is an associate of the Chartered Institute of Professional Development with a master diploma in training. Ram Mohan Rai is also a highly respected Toastmaster who has been recognized by Toastmasters International with its highest award, the Distinguished Toastmaster, which recognizes excellence in communication and leadership. In his journey through the Toastmasters, Rai has held several positions of President, Area Director, Division Director through the Toastmasters. Rai has also held positions of other responsibilities in the Toastmasters, and he is a recipient of numerous recognition and awards, amongst which are the Spirit of Success Award, Outstanding Contribution Award, Outstanding Toastmaster Award, Leadership Excellence Award, Dynamic Leader Award, and Best Division Director Award. GTM Rai is the immediate past District Leadership Chair. Rai is a member of Chartered Institute, a personal development Toastmasters International, Charter President and member of Talking Matters Toastmasters Club, founder member of People Developers Qatar. It is a body of professional trainers and HR personnel. I have been engaging with RAI since 2016, which was my third visit in Qatar, and we try to regularly engage and meet once in a month in different clubs where I also take the opportunity to learn from him. So this is a great time. We have 55 minutes, 1 hour for a great learning from Mr. Ramon Rai. And please help me welcome Ram with a big virtual round of applause. Ram, over to you.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Pradeep. I am honored. First of all, let me check if I'm okay, I'm heard, and everything is fine.
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. I'm honored indeed and elated to be here in August company, speaking to more than 11,000 chartered accountants, I'm told. That's a huge number, isn't it? I should congratulate the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and the Committee for Members of Industry and Business, the Chairman, Mr. Hansraj Chugh, Vice Chairman, Mr. Durgesh Kabra, and of course, CA Pradeep Singh Baweja and CA Ranganathan ji for all the efforts that you have taken to conceive and execute the 6-day executive development program for fresh chartered accountants, which is bound to benefit them immensely. Yesterday, we had the respected CA Adil Buhariwala telling you about the communication factor in success. And today, we have another session scheduled on the subject of communication, which only goes to show how important communication is to success. And let me narrate to you a couple of stories that illustrates the importance of communication in our growth and eventually in the success of our careers and life in general. Let me begin by telling you about these two young friends, Tom and Adam. Inseparable companions they were, always seen together. They played together, hung out together, studied together, went to school together. They were best of friends, thick as thieves, as one would call. They were alike in every which way, brilliant in all that they did, except that Tom was the talkative one, very expressive in his ideas and thoughts, while Adam was the quieter one who would not talk that much. All their neighbors in the community of the small town they lived in knew of this great friendship. They were friends as toddlers, went together to primary school and later high school, then went on to university and to graduate as engineers. Throughout this period, they excelled in everything, in sports, in extracurricular activities, in academics. They topped in everything. And they were also toppers in their engineering exams. They were now full-fledged engineers. Now they started applying for jobs. There was this huge corporation in their town who was recruiting. They had a vacancy for a fresh graduate engineer, so they both applied. They did well in the written exam, as was expected, and so they both got a call for the interview. In the interview, one of them was chosen. As there was only one vacancy, who do you think could have got the job? Put your answer in the chat if you think so. Who do you think got the job? Anybody is answering in the chat, Pradeep?
Yes, yes, I'll tell it. It will take a minute for answer to come in.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let's wait for a minute then. If anybody's
Uh,
answering, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. As soon as it comes, we'll share.
So you can I see it, or you will be telling me?
No, no, I'll be sharing with you.
We'll be reading it out.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, okay. If there is nothing coming, that's all right. Let me carry on. Pradeep.
No, it's there.
Tom, first answer is Tom, second is silent one, and
Okay.
third answer is the one who could talk. Punita, Shubham, Shrishti, they were the first, second, third. Then Shubham
Okay.
says one who speaks less. Mukund says one who talks well. Anchal says who has good communication skills and was confident.
Okay. Very good. That's good. That's what I was looking for. Pradeep, thanks a lot. And thank you for all those who participated. Yes, of course, it was Tom who got the job. And he was recruited because, as most of them said, that he was a better communicator. Absolutely spot on. They both fit the bill for the job, of course, to the T. They had all the qualification. They had all the credentials. They were both best suited for any corporation, and any corporation would want to recruit them. But unfortunately, they had only one vacancy, and they chose Tom because he was the better communicator. So, friends, what does this tell us? It tells us, however good you may be academically, however knowledgeable you are, however informative you are, however academically good you are, however loaded you are up here, if you are not able to express it, if you are not able to put your thoughts forward, if you are not able to communicate the same effectively, it is most likely that you would lose out to the one who can. And that person may not be half as qualified as you are, half as knowledgeable as you are, or as informative as you are. And this point cannot be reiterated with the second story that I'm about to tell you. A friend of mine, a hotshot recruiter who was an expert at placing executive level positions. He was really well known in the field. He would demand a high salary and he would get it. I asked him, what is the key to your success? What do you do better than the others? What he said was, the first thing I do when I recruit is I make a list of exactly what I am looking for. I want to know their education, their background, the software they need to know, their work experience, and then I go and find exactly that person who fits the bill in every which way of that exact position. He has all the credentials I am looking for. But then, accidentally, I find someone with a great customer service, fantastic communication skills. He has only a third of what I'm looking for. I compare them, and 9 times out of 10, the great communicator gets hired. Can you believe that? Most recruiters make this list. It is not only him. All recruiters make this list of what they are looking for, and then they hire someone completely different. They make a list, this long list, which they intellectually put together, that makes all the sense in the world. But then they go and hire someone completely different because they weigh the one great quality above all the rest, that of communication skills. So what does it say? It says, Your resume, your degree, your GPA, your CV matters until you come to the job interview. Because if you get to the interview, they already want to hire you, but they don't. Because recruiting managers hire the communicator. So the initial message is to become the best communicator that we possibly can be. Because communication is the multiplier of knowledge. If we take, he says, my friend said this, that if we take that perfect person who has all the knowledge and all the qualification, and if you put their value at 100, and if he is a poor communicator, his knowledge can be valued at less than 100, maybe even half of that. Whereas, on the other hand, if you take somebody who has half that, what they are looking for, and he is a good communicator, he could be valued at 2 to 3 times that, because they think they can share what they know. So, the great communicator gets hired first. So the bottom line is communication skills plays a great role in getting hired. Communication has various elements, and we will be looking at one of them today. But before I get to that, let me take the liberty of making a broad statement. All of us here on this platform, I feel, are a privileged lot. Do you agree with this statement? Please put it in the chat.
Yeah, before these answers come, I would like to pass on one question to you, which came yesterday also, Ram. Dharmishta, she is asking how to ensure HR considers our resume and forwards it to the concerned department. So while you cover your presentation, if you can throw some light.
Well, I mean, when we are waiting for this answer, I think I can answer this question right away.
Yes, you can.
You see, the answer was in the story that I just said. The HR wants to hire you. If you fit the bill, the HR, you have all that it takes for the job. The HR wants to hire you. And if you are called for the interview, that means you are getting the job. But what? You can only jeopardize that with your communication skills at the interview. You may be having everything. You may be fitting the bill. But if there is somebody else who is having a better communication skills, that person is more likely to be hired than you. But this is what it is.
Actually, Ram, I think she's talking about a step before that. Probably that CV is getting selected.
Yeah.
So when we haven't communicated at all, and only we have shared CV, let's say through their portal or through email, then probably I think that will depend upon CV that it gets shortlisted. So
yeah. That is the initial process that happens. So if you have all the qualifications for that job, you will certainly be called for, and then they want to hire you. If you've got all the qualifications, all the requirements that the job demands, if you have it in you, the experience, etc., they will definitely call you, and most certainly they want to recruit you also. But unfortunately, they don't, and if they don't do it, perhaps then there is something lacking in the interview process, and one of which could be, the major factor could be the communication.
Yeah. Ram, we have 30 responses, and everyone, 100% have said yes, and they agree to you.
Wow, that's great, and I thought it, of course. And I would like to know exactly why do they think themselves privileged, if that's the answer. Why do they think that they are the privileged lot? What's the reason?
Yeah,
Can they answer that now?
Yes, they can answer. So why do you think you are privileged? We want more answers this time. Let us have 100 answers.
No, not that way. It's okay. We can have a sample of the answers. What are they saying? It's
Yeah.
why do you
Let
think
that
they're
as
privileged?
yeah. Whatever first five answers will
No,
come, I will read out.
and Pradeep, I'm looking for a particular answer. So I
Okay,
hope
okay.
I get my answer. Yes,
Right. Let's hope for the best.
yes. So it's coming in. I hope. Yeah,
Yes, it takes a bit time
doesn't matter.
because from the system, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we have. Ashwarya says staying safe in home with food and proper clothes.
Yes.
And Srishti says we cleared in pandemic.
Yes.
Srinivasa says because we are glad to see you and learn something. Monendra says because we are doing what we want to do.
Okay.
And Srishti says, Srishti already I read. Harish says, because I qualified CA exams.
Wow.
Dharmishta
Correct.
says, we have cleared our CA finals and many of us have got our first jobs. Pinky says, we have got the opportunity to listen to eminent speakers like you through ICAI and we are thankful.
Thank you.
So Y Sampath says, being a member of top prestigious institute, we are privileged being part of it. And yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
Ishita,
yeah.
Sukhota says we are getting exposure to different aspects from the experts. Ishita says we have become CS, which is the most privileged profession in the world. Yeah, so now it's flowing very fast. You want me to
Okay.
read more? Or
Well, but of course, these are all reasons to feel privileged, of course, and all of you being chartered accountants is the biggest privilege. But I still did not get the answer I was looking for. I mean, but
okay.
if you could, I mean, if you want, you can still read some of them if there is something new coming.
Anchal says, I'm privileged as I'm surrounded with the motivators. Jitu says, because we are attending a session on effective communication. Riva says, that is because even before our journey as a CA fresher, we have experienced professionals guiding us through it, which only few fortunate candidates get the opportunity. Mukund says, we got chance to meet you. Punita is talking about working from home. So communication is more important. Felici says we are part of the privileged lot since we are getting to learn from the experience of senior members. That's the maximum answer I've got. And
That's
privileged to be part of the institute. Yeah.
wow, that's great and fantastic. So now, well, you know what? We should all be privileged for one more thing. Of course, if all of these are reasons, very good and valid reasons to feel privileged. So many said that they have cleared the chartered accountancy exam. Being a chartered accountant is the greatest privilege. I mean, being safe in the pandemic is a great privilege. I mean, so many reasons to feel privileged. But we have to feel privileged for one more thing. It's we are all privileged to have a voice, don't we? We are all over here in this platform. We all have a voice, right? So now let me share my PowerPoint at this point. Can you see my PowerPoint? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is
Okay.
visible.
Okay, fine. So, voice is what we have. Isn't it? We can speak, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We are privileged because of that. We can be heard, and above all, we can communicate. With the help of our voice, we can do so many things. It's
Yeah.
not visible at all. It's just what is blue screen.
Yeah, gray screen with, like a blue one only. Only we can see a small
Okay.
strip of your presentation.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll come back to that. It's already just changing the slide now, so let it be as it is. In a few minutes, I'll come. I'll talk to them about this, and then we will do that. We'll rectify that. Okay. So, so that's as I was saying. With the help of our voice, we can do so many things. We can go about our daily activities with our voice. We can do our normal chores. Give Something happened now? Is it okay? Pradeep?
It's
No,
fine
not
now.
yet.
Your screen
It,
had gone.
okay, it's all right then. I'll share it later. Okay?
Okay.
So
Okay, fine.
yeah, right. So with the help of our voice, we can do so many things. As I was saying, we can go about our daily activities with our voice, do our normal chores, give small instructions, convey our feelings, express our love. We can speak to a group of people, take up a crusade, fight elections, and what have you. All this with the help of our voice, something which is denied to many. So, don't you think it is a great privilege to be the owner of a voice? Yes. So, what do we need to do then? First of all, we need to be thankful that we have a voice. We need to be grateful to the Almighty for it. We need to respect it, nurture it, develop it, and use it to our advantage, mainly to communicate effectively. So, let us see in the next 40 minutes or so, how does voice help us to, in our communication process, how to effectively use voice in communication. So I think at this point I can share the presentation now again. Let me try. Oh, the screen share is disabled for this meeting, it says.
Disabled. It shouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's okay.
Right.
Oh, so it's come now? Okay.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what kind of a voice you have? And can somebody share it on the chat? What do you think about your voice? What type of a voice do you think you have?
Your voice is very nice, Ram, and many of the students here are those who were part of the 7 days earlier program, and many had asked that how to improve the voice, that what can be the good techniques from our two speakers who came for communication in the last program.
Okay.
Shubham says calm voice he has.
Okay, fine.
And, right. So I think the comments will, Sapan says he has a convincing voice.
Oh, very good.
And let's hope we get.
Okay,
And
to answer your question, Pradeep, to answer your
yes.
question, how to improve your voice. See, this thing about my session today is all about that.
Okay.
So yeah, right.
By the end, yeah, you can. I will quickly read out a few more comments because that will give you an idea of. Ashish says harsh. Srishri says lot of cough in voice. Monendra says effective. Ranjan says clear and slow. Vijay says voice to express my views in polite way. Shubham says depending upon the situation. Harish says voice to which people pays attention. Sampath says communicative and understandable to audience. Pinky says sweet and calm. Shripat says gentle. Jinal says polite. Anchal says my voice is very soothing. Namrata says we need to be versatile. Srinivasa says we should attract others. Priya says her voice is sweet and powerful. Vinayaka says hard, have a hard voice. Rekha says energetic and enthusiastic. Kapil says soft and audible. Yeah.
Very good, very good. That's fantastic. Such good response. I really appreciate it. Actually, the chartered accountants are more, I think, mindful of their voice. They have made an assessment of their voice, so that's very good. But so many times I have taken this session so many places and with a different audience as well. But whenever I ask this question, most of them come up with the answer like, "My voice is shrill, my voice is too loud, my voice is very soft, my voice is squeaky." Nobody, or very few of them say that they have a good voice. And even if they do have a good voice. So one of the things that we should learn is we should learn gratitude. We should be grateful for what we have. And we should learn to appreciate what we have. Our voice is one of the most important components of our identity. It is as individual as our fingerprints and our DNA. I mean, did you know that? Did all of you, anybody knows that? Does anybody know this? That it was as, as individual as your fingerprint? Let's put it in the chat if anybody knew that already. Pradeep, did you know that?
No, I didn't. I didn't know about this.
Right, yeah. So it is. Is any answers coming on the chat for that?
Not that, because it takes little time. We have
fine.
some more answers for the old one.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So it is so distinct. I mean, two people have the same voice. It is very, very your own. So you are the owner of your voice. Voice is the medium through which we do a lot of communicating with the outside world. It carries a large part of the emotional content of your message. The voice is the very emblem of the speaker, indelibly woven into the fabric of speech. So, friends, we need to savor this great gift from God, nurture it, develop it, and use it to our best advantage. So the answer would be, speakers should develop a voice that enhances their words and attracts listeners' attention. I think somebody already said that also.
Yes.
We need to develop a voice that enhances our words. Our words are clear to the others when you talk. Every word comes out clear and strong to the one who is listening to you. And you should develop it in such a way that you sound pleasant and you attract listeners' attention. So a good speaking voice has the following qualities. It's pleasant, conveying a sense of friendliness. How many times we come after meeting somebody and say that, oh, that person is a very friendly person. And you come and tell your parents, you tell your mom and dad, oh, I met somebody who was very pleasant, was very friendly. You tell others that that person is very friendly. So what makes that person friendly? Why do you think that person is friendly? One of the reasons is the voice. The voice conveys that. When you talk, the person listening to you finds yourself friendly and pleasant. So So naturally, that person would want to hear more of you, more from you, and talk to you. Natural. A good quality voice is natural. You see, I've come across a lot. Actually the voice should reflect the true personality and the sincerity of the speaker. There are many of them I came across. They said that, oh, I like this accent, I like that accent, I like the American accent, I like the British accent, and then they go to great lengths to cultivate that accent, and then of course they do it well, and then of course. But the thing is, your own voice, it should be natural. So now, whatever accent you have, there's definitely bound to be the influence of your mother tongue would be there to a great extent on a foreign language that you may be speaking later. But that is unique, isn't it? That doesn't really matter. What you should be focusing on is that it should be sincere. Whatever you're saying, you should be sincere, and you should be you should be concentrating more on the grammar, etc., rather than the accent. So whatever the accent, if you speak grammatically correct, and if you are sincere, you will definitely sound natural and very good. Forceful. Voice should be forceful. It should convey vitality and strength, even if when it is not loud. You see, lots of people think that it's a loud voice is, a forceful voice. No,
Right.
that's not the case. A voice, which, even if it is not loud, do I come out as loud? Do I? Am I
No.
coming out as too loud? No.
No,
But
very soft.
yeah, correct. So now, but I do sound. I mean, my voice has energy, isn't it? It has
Right.
strength. I mean, voice is energy and strength. So this is how it should be. It should, instead of sounding loud, it should be forceful. It should have vitality in it. It should have strength in it. It should be expressive, demonstrating various shades of meaning. In other words, it should not be monotonous, not emotionless. So when you speak, you need to put a certain emotion into what you're saying. There's so many things that you want to say, and everything carries an emotion. Put that emotion into what you're saying. For example, if you're excited, be excited. Show the excitement in the voice. If it is sad or something, very somber, then you need to denote that through the voice. So when it is showing those emotions, then it doesn't sound monotonous, and then you don't sound boring. Your voice should be easily heard. There's no doubt about that. And you have to use the proper volume. You can't afford to speak in a way that the message is not going across to the other side because of the volume. This is the basic thing. You need to pump up the volume loud enough so that the person opposite you is catching your message. This is so very important. So a proper volume is important, is necessary. Otherwise, there would be a breakdown in communication. And a clear articulation. You need to articulate clearly. And we are going to talk about articulation in the next slide a little bit more. So, one of the things that you need to do is to, expand your vocabulary. You need to have that many words to articulate, isn't it? So expand your vocabulary. And how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you expand your vocabulary? That's very simple. You need to be interested in words. You need to be looking out for new words for all the time. Whenever you're talking to somebody, there could be so many new words coming up. Pay attention to that. And if you don't understand that word, you can go ahead and tell the speaker, excuse me, I did not understand this word. Would you explain what this word is all about? And if you cannot do that, perhaps, you are too frightened to do that, then you can just make a note of that word, and then immediately after the conversation, you could just look at up. Today, we are living in a digital world. It's so easy for us. Just have to pick up your mobile and go into a dictionary, find out what exactly does it mean, and then you know what it is. And if you like the word, you should keep it put it into your vocabulary and use it more often. And also, you need to know more about that word, know the synonyms, the various synonyms, so that you could use the same word, same meaning in different ways. So this is how you increase your vocabulary, and you should continuously do that. I don't know. It's Pradeep must be knowing. We are
Right.
Toastmasters.
Yeah.
We have, Toastmasters is one very good place to
Right.
increase your vocabulary. In a Toastmasters meeting, we have a role called the grammarian. And the grammarian introduces a new word at every meeting and encourages everybody who speaks to use that word. So that word is used and then it gets incorporated into your vocabulary. And also the grammarian points out the usage, the good usage of the language, whether good expressions, good idioms used. So that is highlighted, and then that is brought to the attention of the others, and then you tend to incorporate that into your vocabulary as well. So I think the Toastmasters helps you a lot in improving, and the way you speak not only gives you the confidence, but also in all of these various little things which can help you enhance the way you speak. Focus on descriptive words. You use. There are so many ways to say the same thing. The same thing can be said in many different ways. So, and that sounds good. So if you use descriptive words, your conversations become more interesting. Like, for example, when you get up in the morning, you said, "Oh, I got up in the morning today, it was already sunny and bright." So instead of that, you could say, "When I got up in the morning, the sun had already risen and the rays were penetrating through my window and coming right onto my face." You see, this is one way, another way to say it. So we use descriptive words. Practice improvising. You see, this is a very good way to improve your language. You need to improve yourself as you go along. You have to, when you're talking to somebody, use words as you go along, nice words, and improvise. Keep improvising your conversation as you go along. And the Toastmasters is a good place to practice this also. There is something called the impromptu speaking, where they give you a topic on the spot and you not speak, and then you go speaking on it. And then when you speak on it, you go improvising on your language, and you go on speaking, making better, getting new thoughts, and improvising. So this is the practice improvising, and I think impromptu speaking is a very good place to practice improvising. Pausing will help a lot in articulating. Now, pausing, there are many ways many meanings to pausing, but we will talk about this pausing over here. To articulate better is when you've told a word, when you've used a word, just hold on, stop for a second or two, and then so that the word that you have just expressed can sink in. So the other person is getting every word that you speak. So that your articulation will be good. Tone and accentuation. Tone is very, very important in language, in speaking. The tone that you use, you could come out as rude or overbearing, or it could come out as mild, you could come out as kind, you could come out as good. All of this is the tone that you use. So you need to be very careful about the tone that you use. If the person opposite you is not up to it, you need to be careful. Your accentuation, you need to highlight the words, highlight your every word that you speak so that it comes out clear and strong to the other person. use variation, modulation, when you are talking, just don't talk again, not monotonous. Vary your tone, make it high and low. And this we will be talking about more a little later. Slow down so that you are understood. I have lived abroad for a long time now, and so many of my non-Indian friends have told me and have observed that we Indians, he says, speak very fast. They said that, and that's very true. We speak very fast, don't we? And most of them who are not Indians, they tend to find it, they are at their wits' end to catch up with us. So they said, oh my God, sometimes I can't catch up with y'all because y'all speak so fast. So it is very, very important that you slow down and so that you are understood. Like, for example, I don't know, Pradeep, you can ask this question, if I am fast or I am slow. I don't know what I am, actually. So I need to ask all the time. I mean, this has to be the
right.
norm. Yeah.
No, I think you are perfect.
Okay.
And I have few questions. I will be leaving now for another meeting. Before I leave, I'll give on these questions to you.
Okay.
There were few answers which said that Vijay says that he knew about fingerprints, and many said that no, they didn't knew. Anchal also knew about it.
Okay.
Aman is asking that if our voice is not clear, like there's a sinus problem, but wants to be a good speaker. So any tips for that? That is one. Shrishti has a question. Share some examples of descriptive words for speaking with seniors, interviewers, and also talk about more about tone. And Ashwarya has said that you are slow means you are perfect, and she is happy with that.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. And, I just used some descriptive words as an example just now. Okay, with seniors, if you need to talk about, you need to be a little more respectful to your seniors. You need to take the tone, and you said about the tone as well. The tone with the seniors should be respectful, should not come out as rude, should not even also when you talk to seniors, like most of the new generation are the smarter lot this time. I know. I mean, everybody, but sometimes you need to be careful so that you don't step on the toes of the seniors. So you need to take a sort of a little milder tone to them. Aman, your sinus issues, I think if it is really creating a problem to you for you when you speak, then I think you should consult a medical doctor. I'm sure you're already doing it, and you could ask him what exactly can be done so that it does not affect your voice, and what can be done medically to improve your voice quality. So now we were talking about slowing down, and thank you very much for all those who said that I was not fast, but somebody said I was slow. I'm not sure if I was. I mean, lots of people tell I'm slow, but I hope I'm not slow to that extent that I am creating some sort of. I hope I'm not monotonous in that slow business. So understand the reasons why you may not be articulating. Exactly. So sometimes we may be not articulating for other reasons. So, and we need to know that through by asking somebody. That's why I was just talking about referring to Toastmasters quite a lot today. But Toastmasters is a forum where you get instant feedback. So when you speak, there is an evaluator which tells you exactly how you spoke and where do you need to improve. So now, when you are not articulating good, so the evaluator would definitely tell you where is it that you need to articulate and how you can do that. So, but then there could be other reasons also. There could be the physical reasons. There could be a certain defect that we may not be aware of. but we think that we are articulating, but because of that physical defect that could be corrected, it may be that, so that could be done. So we need to look at all angles about why we may not be articulating.
May I read some comments?
Sorry, yeah. Yes,
yeah. Aman says that your pace is perfect. He says we want more tips on how to speak slow like you.
Oh,
Manish has commented that you have a sweet voice.
Oh, fantastic.
And a question from Mr. Ranjan Kumar. He is asking why cricket players speak so fast. Then possibly what is the meaning of descriptive words? Okay, he hasn't understood what is descriptive words. Yeah, there are one more question also. There was Shrishti who wanted to know whether you can give some examples of descriptive words for speaking. Yeah, please.
Yes, sure. I've got a lot to cover. Perhaps we may, in the course of the PowerPoint, I mean, maybe in this session. I mean, I don't know how much time do we have now, Mr. Ranganathan?
We have got 9 more minutes.
Oh, only 9 more minutes, and we've got a lot to cover. And definitely, I can take more questions through you all, and I could get to them individually. People can contact me personally, and I could always talk to them. So that's not an issue. I'll take all the questions later, but only 9 minutes is quite a short time, and I've got a lot to cover. So I'll have to now take it a little faster. Perhaps the slow talking may not work now. Sorry about that. Some said, why are the cricketers talking so fast? Well, I think this is because they don't have time there, and they are first of all there's excitement because they have won, so all of them are really so eager to say everything, and that's why they are talking fast. Perhaps, and it is understood, so that's fine. I mean, as long as you're understood, you're okay. But then if you're too fast, and if you're not understood, then whatever you said has gone down. So the communication has not happened. So be clear, be very, very sure to speak in a way that it is understood by the listener. So now whether you're talking fast or you're talking slow, the message should go out there. So now when you practice good posture, you say that when you talk to somebody, you face the person and you speak. Actually, what you do is with your feet, as it says. So now, if you're doing your work here, and suppose somebody has just come to your office and just talk to you, perhaps, and you want to have some very important discussion, you are still on your laptop and you're looking at him and you're talking to him. So that won't do. That conversation it's not a real way to to have that communication. You need to face that person face to face. Your feet should face him as well, so that you take that direction and then talk to the person, looking at his face and in his direction, and talk so that he knows that you are 100% there with him. So this is how it should be. So focus on the person, not into the eyes that may be intimidating, but focus on the person. Be open with your hands. I mean, that shows that you're an open person. So instead of being fidgety, when you're fidgety, when you hold your hands like this and you are doing something with your hands, you're something or the other, that would be distracting, and it also would be giving wrong signals that the person you're talking to, that you're not giving that person your undivided attention. Speak with energy. Put your energy into what you're speaking. Mr. Ranganathan, this 9 minutes, is that it's before the question hour session, or is it? I have to wind up in 9 minutes. That's what you said.
Yeah, because as per IST, the next speaker is already here, and then he commences session at 7. So so we have got 6 more minutes.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So you need to adjust the volume to the place at the moment, and depending on where you are and how many people are there, you need to adjust your volume accordingly, and have to have that conversation there. So I mean, you as chartered accountants, you will be tomorrow talking to, attending meetings and conducting meetings, chairing meetings. Maybe you'll be invited as guests, as a guest speaker. So you need to project your voice. And one of the secrets of projecting the voice is to, if it's a small room of people that you're talking to, try to find a focus, which is some to a second or third row from the end, and focus on a person, and then try to talk to that person. So then automatically your voice is raised enough so that your voice is filled, the room fills up with your voice, and everybody in the room hears it. So this is one of the techniques to project your voice. And, people project the voice, they project confidence. So you look forward, don't talk too fast, as we said so many times. Lower and raise your tone at will. So when it is required, you have to raise your tone. When it is not required, you have to lower it, depending on the topic of the talk. Posture has a great impact on voice. A good posture allows lungs to fill with air. So if you droop when you speak, with your shoulders hunched, your head down on your lungs, your vocal cords are blocked, and the airflow is reduced. So stand straight, head straight, and shoulders back, so that you are projecting your voice well. So posture has a great impact on voice. It gives power to your voice. It denotes confidence. A good quality voice begins with good breathing. So breathe from your abdomen. So your air must flow freely through your lungs, down to your larynx, your pharynx, and straight down. It should go to the abdomen. The abdomen must expand as the air goes in, and you should hold on to that for a while, maybe 10 seconds, or you can count from 1 to 10, and then you release it. So this is, the deep breathing helps the air to go right through your vocal cords. And this helps your in the nourishment of your vocal cords. Vocal cords, you have to do this every day, at least for about 5 minutes. You can do it. But it's better to deep breathe all the time. But if you can't do it, you can do it for at least some 5-10 minutes in the morning. So this will help your vocal cords a lot. The characteristics of a good voice is volume or power, pitch, rate, quality. Speaking too loud could bother your audience after some time. Speaking too softly could irritate the audience as they struggle to catch with what you are saying. So the volume depends on the shape and the size of the room, and adjust your volume according to the requirement of the room. Everybody should be heard, but at the same time, you should not be too loud, neither should be soft. And I said that pitch your voice to a certain point, and then you can project your voice accordingly. Pitch is high or low on the musical scale. I'm sure most of you may be even singing, so you are the music lovers. So you know what the music does. It's so soulful. It's music to the ears, they say. So similarly, the voice also, when you vary it, the pitch and the high and the low, then the voice comes out better. You want to listen to the person more. Monotone will put the audience to sleep. So adapt the pitch to the material. High pitch is excitement, enthusiasm, etc. So you could use high pitch, but the low pitch is for sadness, thoughtfulness, etc. The rate of words, is very important. Fast is, the audience will not be able to keep pace. If you go so fast, they'll just blank out after a certain time. And slow, the audience will lose interest. So the ideal speaking rate is like 125 to 160 words per minute. A moment of pauses. Now we are talking about the pauses. A moment of silence before you make a statement really brings a lot of impact. And similarly, after you have made the statement, if you pause, it again makes a lot of impact. So Pause could, it helps you to breathe, catch your breath. Suppose you're speaking too far because there's short of time. It serves as a punctuation and it attracts attention when the listeners are distracted. If there is a lot of noise and you are not being heard, so you could just pause and then suddenly you will see that there is, the attention is drawn to you. The voice should convey a wide range of emotions. It should add meaning to your words. It should enhance the message. It should add interest to what you're saying. Voice is a major factor in making an impact. Cultivate a good voice. Deliver an effective presentation. Voice, it is the window to your personality. First impressions go a long way, and your voice makes that great first impression. See that your voice makes that first great impression. You need to use your voice in a way that you are the person, picked up to speak, to listen to. That's the way you should develop your voice. Make that great gift that you've got, you should, use it to the advantage. And then that's it. Yeah, I'm up now. If the time is up, I'll have to go. But then in this short time, if there's a question or two that can be squeezed in, I can take.
One question. We are actually overshot by 1 minute. So if you can just answer one question in just 1 minute. There is one Shrishti who wants to know how to not blink too much of our eyes while we speak.
Blinking of the eyes, I think, comes a bit from sometimes from a sort of nervousness, and I think one of the ways to overcome that is to practice confidence, and confidence could come with when you are more sure of yourself. You are completely prepared and you go to speak. If you're speaking to a group of people, for example, you're in a meeting, you're conducting a meeting, then I think you should be completely prepared. And then when you're prepared, you can look at the person in the eyes and you can look at your audience with a lot of confidence. So this could be, if it is because of nervousness, this is how it can be corrected. But if it is for some, physical reason, medical reason, then I think there should be some other ways to do it as well. So, over to you, Mr. Ranganathan. If I'm overshot the time, sorry. And I should thank the Institute of Chartered Accountants, yourself and Prabdeep in particular, and the chairman and the vice chairman for this opportunity. This is a great opportunity. And I am free and I'm always available for any questions any of the listeners today had and I could not answer. Please send it to Prabdeep and he can send it to me. Prabdeep has all my details with him and you can just forward it to them. It's indeed a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you so very much.
So the session was really truly wonderful. The ICAI and all the young members are blessed that we have a plethora of such eminent speakers speaking to us from India, from abroad, and we are extremely grateful to you for your time and for your efforts, sir. We look forward to having you again in our sessions. Thank you so much, Mr. Ram Mohan Roy. Grateful to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Now, welcome, CA Rajiv Shah. My apologies to you that we have overshot the session by 4 minutes. You're already there before time. So let me just take 1 minute to introduce you to our audience. CA Rajiv Shah is an associate member of ICAI, having qualified in the year 1996, and he was a rank holder in our examinations. He has over 24 years of post-qualification experience, having worked with AF Ferguson and Company, which was once the largest Indian CFO firm. Now it is Deloitte, and then as Group CFO and General Manager with Emirates National Holdings LLC, Abu Dhabi. CA Raji has worked in various committees and subcommittees of Dubai chapter as well as the Abu Dhabi chapter of ICAI over the last 7 years. He served as the chairman of the Abu Dhabi chapter, which is now the prominent chapter of ICAI. For your information, ICAI has got footprints in 40 countries today. He is the Secretary of Indian Business and Professional Group, Abu Dhabi, and an active faculty for the GMCS course in the UAE. The Rajiv is also a certified management consultant, Institute of Management Consultants of India. He will be speaking on the topic negotiation skills. Before I hand it over to him, sir, some of our participants have made a mention that in this pandemic, everything is happening through virtual mode. We are not sitting across people face to face. So while you cover negotiation skills, some of the audience have said, please also cover how to do it virtually. Over to you, CA Rajiv Shah. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Is my voice clear?
Absolutely clear, sir. Perfectly fine.
Great. So thank you, CA Ranganathan. First of all, thanks to the Institute and Pradeep, President CA Nihar Jambusaria, our Vice President CA Devashish Mitra, and of course the Committee for Members in Industry and Business, which has come up with such a wonderful event. I was told 11,000 fresh chartered accountants are there and will be speaking to them. So that's a great honor. I have never spoken to more than probably 500, 800 at a time. So this is a new thing for me. And as you very correctly said, it is the advantage of COVID. There are advantages and disadvantages of COVID. One great advantage is that it has brought geographies much closer, where we can listen to Mr. Ram Mohan, we can listen to so many other speakers across the globe. And it's a real privilege. So it's Chairman C. Ansraj Chugh and Vice Chairman C. Durgesh Kabra as well. And of course, my good friend Pradeep was based in UAE for this opportunity. So what I'll do is, as I understand, we'll spend 45 minutes on the presentation, and then 15 minutes we can do the Q&A. Let me try and share my screen, and please confirm when you're able to see it. Is my screen visible now?
Yeah, it is visible, sir.
Okay, great. And so if anyone has any question in between, please feel free. It is always such a pleasure to talk to young chartered accountants. As I said, in GMCS, we do it all the time because it is something that we give back to the Institute. We are what we are because of the Institute today. It has given tremendous opportunities to us, especially in India. Of course, it has a pivotal role. But when you come outside India, the chartered accountants are respected so much across the globe. As Mr. Ranganathan said, we have footprint in over 40 countries now. And every country, the chartered accountants are respected precisely because of the professionalism that we carry with ourselves, the knowledge we have and the attitude that we display. One thing we often lack is the soft skills and the negotiation skills. So I'm very glad that this topic has been taken up to be discussed with the students. And what I'll do is, while I speak on this, I will use a lot of real life examples of how we conduct negotiations. And of course, in the COVID world, as was requested, I don't think much change has happened during COVID or non-COVID in terms of negotiation or in terms of talking, because it's just that you're not sitting in the same room. You're sitting in virtual rooms. So I don't think it has affected much. Yes, the personal contact, the eye-to-eye contact, the personal, the respect that you can develop is lacking here. So you have to make more efforts. But let me try and cover it in every slide as we go along. So let's start with the presentation. Now, starting on a lighter note, what you see on the screen, I'm an author as well. So How to Be an Expert in Negotiations is a book, and I'll accept any price for it. So this is itself a nice cartoon in a way, that if you are writing a book on negotiation, why will you accept any price for it? So you should be having a better price for it. Let's get into the details now. What we're going to discuss today is why do we need negotiation skills? What are the outcomes? What are the characteristics of a negotiator? Styles of negotiation? And various body postures. I was listening to the previous speaker and he was making very, very good points on how to talk, how not to talk, how to present yourself. And that is very critical, because for me, while our CA Institute gives us a lot of knowledge, But somehow, because we are not into a college type of education, we don't have professors coming and talking to us. What happens is we miss out on these soft skills. So while we are able to present, and I was talking to the WIRC had organized one event, the BCS, Bombay Chartered Accountants Society had organized an event, and we were discussing precisely the same point there, that while we get the technical knowledge, sometimes we are not as good as MBAs because we are not able to transfer that knowledge or transmit that knowledge to the listener. And somewhere we miss out on that. So even in UAE, you will find that there are some MBAs who do extremely better than us, not because they're better in knowledge, but they're able to transfer that knowledge or transmit that knowledge in a much better way than we are able to do. So I love talking on these topics precisely for this reason, because don't undermine the importance of voice modulation, as the previous speaker was saying, or personality development, or negotiation skills, or how to dress, how to think, how to talk to people, because this is where you may be 90% there. But if you miss out on these 10%, trust me, you will not win the deal and you will not get the job. So these 10% plays a very critical role in, and I'm talking especially since I've been outside the country for 15 years. I've worked in more than 15 countries. So I've seen a lot of international professionals. In UAE itself, for example, we have more than 200 nationalities staying here. So all the time you need to be an international citizen, and which is very different from being an Indian citizen in terms of a business or a professional acumen that you need to carry. So looking at some very basics here, why do we need to negotiate? Why do we need negotiation skills? Now let's look at some real life examples for this. You may need to persuade colleagues and team members to prioritize your project and task. So many of you are starting your careers now. You're going to join big organizations. You're going to join probably international organizations. Some of you may be placed outside as well of India. And you will now realize that every day of your work atmosphere, you need to negotiate with your colleagues, with your team members, with your bosses, either for projects or for tasks or for a budget or for leave or for any other matter. So it is a matter of negotiation today, whatever you undertake. It could well be talking to your manager for a salary increase, or it could be an interview that you are going into. So I give this example very often because, Mr. Ranganathan said about Ferguson, we used to place a lot of employees outside. So I've taken more than 1,000 interviews because we were into executive placement. And of course, when I came here, I started a senior management role. There also I took a lot of interviews. And very often where we chartered accountants lack is that when a question comes, what salary do you expect? We end up saying, sir, it is negotiable, or it is okay what you give. And that, according to me, is not the best answer, because when you go into a negotiation, you need to know what is your worth. What salary do you expect? You should do a lot of research on the company. You should do a research on the interviewer. And when you go for the meeting, for the interview meeting, you should be well prepared. Now, very often I have not selected candidates because they said salary is negotiable. I come from the perspective that suppose if I hire you, you are in the finance department, you could be in procurement, you could be business development, and you need to go and negotiate for the company outside with other suppliers, with customers, with bankers and whoever. Now, suppose you go into that meeting and you're negotiating a price. Are you going to tell them that the price is negotiable or the interest rate is negotiable? No, you will go with a position of strength, telling them what you want. So how come for the most important thing in your life that you're going to go to an interview for a job, you say that the salary is negotiable? So that is not the correct answer. Very often you may give an answer which may be higher than what the interviewer is willing to pay. And then you negotiate, you say how you're going to add value, and probably that 3 to 6 months of a probation period. And if the interviewer feels that you are performing to the ability, then probably he can give you an increment at that time. So it's very important that when you talk to your bosses for a salary increase or for an interview, you need to know the position you are coming from. Compete with colleagues for a share of resources. This happens all the time. There are various departments in a company, especially during COVID times. You would have seen the budgets have been slashed, marketing budgets have been slashed. So companies and countries are going through a tough time today. So the budgets have been limited. manpower is being reduced, procurement budgets are being reduced, training budgets are being reduced, and therefore you'll have to make a very strong case for your department when you want a certain allocation to be made to you. So that again presents a negotiation opportunity for you. Seek out the best deals on goods and services. So I explained you may be a project manager, you may be in procurement, you may be leading certain other projects for your company, and you need to constantly talk to your suppliers and your customers, and negotiation is the only way ahead. It could be as simple as deciding with friends what holiday alternatives you need to take. So we have to do it all the time, 3-4 families going together, and which hotel to stay in, which restaurant to go to, which places to visit is also a matter of negotiation. And you will come up with the best points you have about it. The other person will come up with the best points. You will discuss together, and ultimately you will reach a midway of it. But how do you convince the other person for your point of view is what we are going to discuss today. And on a lighter note, something that we go through, maybe many of you may not be married as yet, but convincing your wife not to buy the diamond set now, or probably convincing your husband to buy a diamond set now. So if you're a lady or you're a girlfriend and you need to convince your boyfriend for something, but that's also a negotiation. Me and my wife have often these negotiations all the time. And thanks to COVID, I'm able to win, saying that my budgets are reduced now. So let's wait till we conquer COVID and we'll see what to do. But all these are negotiation situations that happens in life. And again, on a lighter note, you can see in this cartoon, the boss and the employee talking, that if you forget about the pay rise, then I will forget about the pay cut. So always the employer is going to see how to reduce the cost. I just finished a consulting study for a large school in UAE. And this is exactly where we have come up with something to reduce the payroll, because the school is making a loss right now because of various reasons. And we need to now go back to the employees and convince them for a pay cut. But it's happening all the way. If you look at ADNOC, you look at Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, you look at Mubadala, you look at the large banks in UAE, in every company today pay cuts are happening. Now, when the boss comes to you, how will you negotiate for a lesser pay cut or a no pay cut? So that again is a matter of negotiation. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your deliveries, how successful you have been, all of these things you'll have to prepare to negotiate with your boss. So successful negotiations is an important communication skill. And if you ask me, this is probably the most important communication skill. So some of you will join finance teams, you'll do mergers and acquisitions, you'll do valuation. When you come up with a valuation, the buyer side, the seller side is going to negotiate very hard. And therefore, at the early stage of your career, if you start developing this skill, and when you come onto the mid management and the top management level, you will find that this skill is going to take you a long, long way, right? And only by mastering this, you can increase your chances of success. Otherwise, you'll always find the other person, winning over you. In India, we've always had a softer thing. We always say, Atithi Devo Bhava. We always want to give other side. We've been taught to give more rather than take. Negotiation is completely opposite of that. You need to take more than you have to give, right? So we need to remove the Indianness of giving more, of being a good citizen, of being a good person. And you have to negotiate in a way that your company benefits. Therefore, you have to take more than you can give. It is important for the business and the personal life. So if there's one lesson you take out of this excellent executive development program, is to develop a good negotiation skill, and life will teach you. Your job is going to teach you how to do that. What are the outcomes of a negotiation process? So when you start a negotiation, you need to prepare a lot. A lot of times we say that someone is lucky, or someone passes a CA exam, he was lucky, or someone wins a lottery, he is lucky, or someone's stock market share goes up, he is lucky. But I don't think there is anything called luck. For me, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And that is very important. So whenever you start a negotiation process, it is so important to prepare yourself for the negotiation. You cannot just go to a meeting without having done your homework. I mean, that's a very basic commonsensical thing, and I'm sure all of you know about it, but I'm just going to drill that point through again and again. Now, what could be a negotiation outcome? Okay, one outcome could be, I win, you lose. So you go very aggressively into the meeting and very high ego, and you want to win. You don't care if the other person loses. So probably in this case, you may win the battle, but in the longer sense, in the longer term, you may actually end up losing the war. So is this a good strategy to have? Uh, Again, if you see a small cartoon, you see a mouse here and a mouse trap there. And this is no way to build trust, because when most of the negotiations that you are going to do is going to create a long-term relationship. Imagine you are into an M&A deal, right? M&A deal is like a marriage. So once the merger takes place, both the companies have to work together for life. Now imagine if the starting point itself has not been good. How is the relationship going to survive? And you need to build trust when you are negotiating. It is not just about me winning the negotiation. It is about creating a relationship which will make a success outcome for both the players. So I think I win, you lose is not the best strategy. The victim syndrome can be there. I lose, you win. And this is sometimes we Indians suffer from it. So being an Indian, being a chartered accountant, sometimes I'm critical about it. But it is very important because we all need to improve as we go along. So sometimes we have a victim syndrome and we are not able to negotiate. The other person is very strong. He has a strong personality. Maybe you are sitting against Narayan Murthy and negotiating with him. It is possible. I mean, we have done that so many times. The CEO of a company is there. And probably you start feeling a bit down. You start feeling like a victim in the meeting. And you let the other party win. That is not going to be good for your company. And you may lose out on your job or your increment if you have this type of a syndrome. So again, it is not good to give more than you're supposed to give. So there's a negative psychology. I will also not win, you will not also win, let the deal go away, no problem. So I've just finished one M&A transaction. It's almost a 55 million dirham deal, so close to say $15 million is a deal we closed yesterday. And this is between the three partners currently who are into a construction business in UAE. And the deal is happening. One partner is selling his stake and the two partners are buying his stake. And a point came in the negotiation. I was, of course, the consultant there. The point came in the negotiation there where they came to such an ego battle. They said, na teri, na meri, na kisi ki bhi. So everyone is going to lose in the deal. And I had to protect that deal then. So ultimately, I was able to bring them to some sense, negotiate with them in a better way, show to them that if both of them are going to lose out, this is the loss you're going to incur, not only financially, commercially, personally, relationship-wise. And finally, yesterday we were able to sign the MOU, which will now get translated into a share purchase agreement. So I lose, you lose. Sometimes we get into an ego battle, right? And mostly when you are into an ego battle, you will lose out on the deal. No one is going to gain. So what is the use of it? The best situation, of course, is that I win, you win. This is ideal. So can you meet midway in such a way that both the parties are happy and you reach an agreement for mutual benefit? Now, this again calls for a lot of preparation, because when you go into a meeting, you don't only think about your strengths and weaknesses for a particular transaction. You also think about the strengths and weaknesses of the other party. If you don't know their strengths, if you don't know their weaknesses, you are not going to be a good negotiator. So when you go into a meeting negotiating for any of the things we discussed earlier, you need to be well prepared about your strengths and weaknesses and the other party's strengths and weaknesses, so that you reach a deal which is ideal for everyone. And there's a nice cartoon that, or a nice message that I like to talk here, that negotiation is like a partner dance. And when you look at a lot of partner dances, you will see now some amazing dance shows come on Indian channels as well. You will see there is a lead and there is a follower. But a negotiation is something that, the lead and the follower roles have to be switched frequently. Each partner should feel important in the deal. Okay, so that we arrive at a win-win solution in a harmonious way. So it's very similar to a partner dance routine where both parties have to play an important role, so that the outcome is beneficial and it is in the interest of both the parties. Let us look at characteristics of a negotiator, and whilst I go through it, I would like you to think which of the characteristics are there in you, which you can improve upon and which you need to get rid of. I mean, at our age also now, when we are at the top management level, we also have to get rid of some of our characteristics which are not helping us. So we have to constantly improve every day as we go along. So let's look at some of the characteristics which are there. Let's go line by line. An ineffective negotiator lacks preparation. I've spoken a lot about how important it is preparing for a deal. An effective negotiator prepares extremely well for a deal. So you'll find a lot of successful bankers. We have our own chartered accountant Aditya Puri, who led HDFC Bank for such a long time, right? We have a lot of senior chartered accountants here who are who hold great positions in even Mubadala and ADIA and all, because they have been effective negotiators. They've been transacting well. They've been buying companies in a very good way, and they've done extremely well. So chartered accountants have done extremely well because they've been good negotiators here. An ineffective negotiator does not have clear objective. Before you go into a meeting, you need to know what you need to get out of this negotiation. If you're going for an interview, you should be very clear. You want the job, and you want the job at this particular salary. If you don't have that particular objective in mind, how are you going to even negotiate it? So have a very clear objective for whatever meeting that you go to. When you go to a budget meeting, you should know what amount you need, for what purpose you need, when do you need it, do you need it in installments, what is going to be the benefit the company is going to have if the budget is given to you, how is it better than the other alternative options that the management is going to have. All of these things need to be prepared extremely well. Empathy is so important. Failing to understand other side's point of view. If you don't understand the other side's point of view, it is going to be extremely difficult. I told you negotiation is like marriage. Imagine, or a relationship. It could be a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. It could be a father-son relationship, right? If you don't understand what the other person's viewpoint is, how will the relationship succeed? So it's very important to understand where the other person is coming from, and understand, have empathize with that person, so that you are able to give them a little which they are, which they like to have as a deal. You remember that famous Shah Rukh Khan dialogue, right? कभी कभी जीतने के लिए हारना पड़ता है, and जो हार के जीतते हैं उसे बाजीगर कहते हैं. This is exactly what negotiation is. That sometimes you have to give up something to win the larger war which is at stake. Your expectations has to be realistic. Again, if I take the interview example, you can't go to an interview and say I need a 50,000 dirham salary when maximum a person is willing to pay, say 20,000. Maybe he can go up to 25,000. But if you have unrealistic expectations, it's not going to work out. The deal is going on between Saudi Aramco and Reliance for a long time, but for some reason the deal is not closing. So sometimes the valuation becomes unrealistic. What Reliance may be wanting, Aramco may not be willing to give. It may not just be the price, it may also be the rights for oil, rights for exploitation, rights for the refinery, where the product will be sold. Maybe they want the oil back in Saudi, maybe they want to sell the oil, refined oil somewhere else. So all these are part of the expectations that are there in a deal. Many times the deals fail because the expectations are not realistic. So you need to be flexible, you need to look for creative solutions on how the deal can be successful. Don't try to close the deal too quickly. There is always a timing. In cricket, we know the timing plays such an important role. Tendulkar touches a ball and it goes for 4. Why? Because the timing is right. Same is for negotiation. You need to time your deal extremely well. You need to know how much time needs to be spent there. Not too much, not too less. It has to be adequate, right? And you need to plan for that much earlier than that. Agendas have to go out. Timelines have to go out. Any good negotiation deal, you will find both parties putting a clear work plan. This is what we are going to do today. This is what we are going to do tomorrow. This is the time we are going to sign the share purchase agreement. This is the time we are going to pay the amount. So all of this is very important. If you come onto certain disagreement areas, what do? Best is to keep them aside, agree to disagree, and say, let's come to this in the end. Sometimes some of these disagreement areas could be what we call as deal breakers, that you are not able to agree and it will break the deal. But if this is something that you can probably move to the later stage, you're not agreeing right now, just push that point after a few days and work on the points where you are able to come to an agreement, because both the parties will then build trust and it will become easier for you to close the deal on the disagreement areas, because you are in a better position of trust at that point of time. Okay, and of course lacks clarity. An ineffective negotiator does not know what he wants from the deal. An effective negotiator knows what he wants from the deal. So look at these points very closely. These are extremely important. and you need to know how you are going to play this out when you come into the situation. So when you're fully prepared, you will be able to negotiate from a position of strength. So preparation, preparation, preparation. This is critically, and this is the most important thing that you need to do. What are the old style and new style of negotiations, right? So here, let me touch upon the COVID scenario as well. The old style is, of course, negotiating from positions. So I am the CEO of a company. I am so and so. I am so and so. This was okay earlier. The world has changed today. Earlier, always we used to call people sir, madam, Mr. so and so. Now in international, everyone is called with their first name. So the positions are losing. A lot of international IT companies, you must have read, that they have given up the positions. No CEO, no MD, no president, no directors, nothing. Everyone just carries a name card. That's it. They don't have positions anymore. It's about principles. So the world is changing now. It is about what principles you are carrying to a negotiating meeting. Earlier, we could think about a confrontational style of negotiation style. So very often when China and India are going to negotiate, that is also negotiation. We have problems at our borders, right? And those are very confrontational type of negotiations. But can we change it to a compromising and collaborating? So both countries then can work towards a better economic future and not waste so much money on defense, right? So you need to look at the compromising and collaborating style. Rather than self-interest, look at mutual interest. As I said, economic development of countries is more important than spending money on defense. Short term to long term, what is the use of winning a battle when you end up losing a war? Immediate gains and ongoing rewards. So again, if we come back to an interview thing, when I take interviews, for example, sometimes I tell the interviewee then that, okay, I'm not able to meet your requirement of salary, but why don't we make a plan that if in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you deliver on these things to me, I will give you a much better increment and a much better award. So rather than getting a large increment right now, why don't we negotiate for a long-term relationship? And we sign today that if you achieve so and so, I will give you a better increment. If you are going from a position of strength, if you are fulfilling what the interviewer wants, if you are able to tell him that you're going to deliver value, and then you add value to his company, trust me, the management is going to reward you because they want performing employees, right? Getting what I want is not that important as what the other person needs. So we need to look at how, again, empathy comes in here. The end justifies the mean. A bad behavior may damage the relationship. So in today's world, a relationship is the most important. I often speak on networking also because chartered accountants, unfortunately, lack a lot in networking. You know, we have over 4,000, 5,000 chartered accountants just in UAE. But if you see the amount of business they do with each other is very less. Why is that so? Mr. Ranganathan said we are in 40 countries today. Now go and look at any MBA institution. Look at Harvard, look at Kellogg's, look at ISB, look at IIM, look at any of the MBA institutes. Let's learn from them. Because it's not key, they are better than us or we are better than them. Always look at learning. You know what these guys do? They have such a strong networking amongst themselves that they pass on a lot of business to each other. I am in UAE. We have a WhatsApp group called ICAI Overseas Group. There's hardly any discussion on business happening there. We chartered accountants don't create opportunities for each other. Okay, and this is all about relationship. This is all about networking. But some chartered accountants, some of us, we are doing an amazing job of creating networking. So not only here, I have been passing on so much work to Indian chartered accountants as well. And Indian chartered accountants have been referring work to me as well. How did we do that, right? Because we were extremely good negotiators. We were very good in networking. And we are able to add each other in an economic value because that's what matters at the end. Today we are having a discussion because there is some economics at work here. So very important to network, very important to create relationships. Okay, and we should not be thinking the worst for others. We should be expecting the best of others. So any successful business must realize that true profits come from long-term mutually rewarding relationships. Create great relationships in your life. Keep them active. Take them out for lunch. Take them out for dinner. Go out with them, regularly be in touch with them, send WhatsApp, send email, keep them updated. It is extremely important. depending on what you want to become in your life. If you want to become a banker, please develop a network of bankers around you. If you want to become an investment banker, then you need to look at valuation experts. You need to look at investors. You need to look at, why do they say that most good deals are done in the golf course? You must have heard that so often, right? Or in a club, because that is where relationships get created. And this is where the deals happen then. It does not happen in the boardroom. Boardroom, you formalize a deal. But relationships is when you start a deal, and starting the deal and starting the relationship and maintaining the relationship is most important. Think before you negotiate. So these are some of the things that you need to look at very carefully. Before you negotiate, you need to prepare. Has your company dealt with this person before? Go and talk to other departments. Go and talk to your bosses. Find out how this person is. Find out how this company is. What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? Okay? Because you are going to deal with that person. And as much data as you can gather about it, it is important. Have you been briefed on what to expect? So go and talk to your boss. What do you expect out of it? What is the objective of this particular negotiation that you're going to carry out? If you're going to procure some goods, what is the maximum price that the management is willing to pay? So that you know what is going to happen. If you're negotiating with a banker for interest, when Reliance CFO negotiates for interest with international banks, he knows exactly that he does not want to raise money over 1.5% interest over, say, LIBOR. Okay. Then he goes and negotiates from that position of strength. But if he doesn't know what is his maximum interest rate that is allowed, how is he going to even negotiate? If not, where can you get more information? Today, information is available on a fingertip. Just Google it and you will find whatever you want. Google was supposed to be a proper noun. Now it has become a verb. Just Google it, we say, right? So you can get all the information on the fingertips today. Research how much ever you can. It's extremely important. Is there any issue of unsatisfactory agreements? So sometimes it happens that in the past, the negotiation did not go on well and you are being sent to that particular meeting. Find out why the negotiation failed and make sure you solve that problem and you start on a positive note. That you solve that issue and they say, let's start with a fresh slate. What does this person know about me? So just like you need to know about that person, the person may know also needs to know about you. What are they expecting out of the deal? Okay. Am I different from the person they have dealt before? Maybe some other person would have dealt with them. Now you're going to deal with them. So what is it that had happened earlier? Could this be an advantage? Does the person have the authority to negotiate? Now this is very, very critical. When you get into a negotiation, you need to be clear that the other person is in a position to take a decision. If not, he's going to just stop the discussion and he'll say, let me talk to someone and come back to you. And that's the end of it. So you wasted a lot of time. So even before the negotiation starts, both parties need to know that they have the power to negotiate, they have a power to take a decision. If not, then the negotiation, the deal making is going to slow down considerably. What are the deadlines? I've spoken about this earlier. Is there adequate time to discuss, gather information, consult, reflect, close? All of this is extremely important. So you may find that a lot of things I'm talking today before you get into a meeting. But trust me, life will teach you that if you do all of these things, you will always be at an advantage as opposed to if you don't do these things. Prepare a detailed agenda. I've spoken about this before. Personal feelings about the people you're dealing with should not get in the way of your business goals. So this is exactly what I told you about the deal that was happening. The three partners, successful business, 200 million dirham valuation of the company, but somehow they got into an ego battle and they had a personal enmity toward each other. And because of that personal enmity, the deal was not taking place. Everyone would have lost. I played a critical role in removing the personal feelings from this negotiation and discussing only about the business. Win-win situation. And this is what, so don't get your personal feelings into negotiation. Keep your personal feelings, personal agenda outside the meeting room. Focus on what you need to do to get a business success. What is the objective? Some of these points I have covered. So looking at the time, let me quickly go through it. So this we've already discussed, so I'm going to go through. again, this is about preparation. So I will again nail this point in. The saying is to fail to prepare is to prepare to fail. So if you don't prepare for anything in life, you are going to fail. There is nothing called luck. Okay. And it is never more true than in negotiating. So please prepare well. That is the only way to have a successful negotiation. What makes a good agreement? If the outcome will satisfy mutual interests, will it work? So ultimately it has to be a practical decision, a practical agreement which is implementable. You can come up with the best solution in the world, but if you're not able to implement it, what good is that solution? So come up with a solution which is practical, implementable, time bound, objective oriented, should be measurable, like we say, smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. So the smart objective should be there. So is it going to work? Do both sides fully understand? So have detailed minutes and on what has been agreed, what has the decision making, what is the time by which action will be taken, who is going to take the action. After you finish the meeting, if you don't have a detailed understanding written down, minuted, it is of no use. Therefore, every board has a minutes, every general meeting has a minute. Every commercial meeting you'll get into will have detailed minutes. So cost has been, so let me go through some of these points quickly. Explore the other party's needs. So if you're getting stuck, it is good to ask a question that is there something else that I can do for you? It is creating trust that we have reached here. Please tell me what else I can do for you to make the deal work. I will go out of my way to make it happen, because remember, you're creating a relationship here. Okay. And what circumstances would need to change for you to accept the deal in this form? So ask them very open questions, because at the end of the day, you want a deal to work. As I said, if you hit a difficult point, just put it ahead and revisit this at a later point. Always put the agreement in writing. That's exactly what we did yesterday. We had a memorandum of understanding and we put everything, including an implementation plan, that the share purchase agreement will be signed by 31st May. The first payment will be made on 31st May. Then every month 12 payments will be made. So and so day the power of attorney will be cancelled. So the entire implementation plan date-wise was put, and that is extremely important. Know when to stop talking. So this is also critical. So not only you should know when to talk, but sometimes it is important when not to talk as well. So many a deal has been finished. That agreement was reached, and out of your enthusiasm you kept talking. And you made some point which made the other party unsuccessful, right? So many successful negotiations fail because it's ruined by people who don't know when to shut up. So when to shut up is extremely important. If you reach a deadlock in a negotiation, your main objective should be to exit with dignity. So fine, a deal is not happening, no problem. Shake hands, end the relationship on a good note, because tomorrow you may have to go back to them for some other thing. So don't get out of a deal with enmity. Get out of a deal with a good relationship. Send out a good mail saying that, sorry, we were not able to close the deal, but let's keep in touch. And that is extremely important to do. Body postures, some of it already our previous speaker has spoken about, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But the right posturing is very important in a meeting. You can just read what I've written on the screen, and maybe some other time we will talk about it in more detail. Dressing, very important. We chartered accountants lack the way to dress. Some of us are good, most of us are not that good. So it's very important to dress well. We have to invest in ourselves, wear the right suits, matching tie to a matching suit. The way you dress, the way you walk, the way you talk is so critical in any transaction that you will do in your life. These are soft skills, but as I told you, these 10% counts sometimes much more than the 90%. So when you communicate with others, it is less important what you think you are doing, but it is more important what the other person thinks that you are doing. So perception is important. First impression is the last impression, right? So that is going to be extremely important when you get into it. Listening is very important. Sometimes we lack the ability to listen. And we are just thinking in our mind about what we want to say, but we are not listening what the other person is saying. right? So please listen well. Keep confirming after a person has made a point. So just repeat that point. Also, what you've said is that you want 20 million right now and 1 million to be paid in 5 installments. Is this correct? Is that what I've understood from you? Something like that. Repeat that point. Let the guy say yes, so that you are on the same page. Am I right in thinking that you don't want so and so clause to be included? Let him say yes or no. Beware of temptation to finish other people's sentences. A lot of people do that. There's a beautiful Dilbert cartoon I came across, that sometimes we love to finish other people's sentences. Okay, so it may actually become irritating for them. Don't do that. Let him talk. Wait for your time to talk. Game playing and negotiation. So I'm going to cover these points very quickly. 5 more minutes I'll take, and then we will get into Q&A. So strategy is, sometimes the intention is to make the other party feel that what they are saying is unacceptable. So best is to be silent. You can play friend and foe. Sometimes when we go into negotiation, we say we'll play a good cop, bad cop role. So one of my guys is playing a bad cop role, trying to create disruption. I am playing a good cop role. This is all strategies to get the right thing for your company. A new point will be raised towards the end to get more bargaining power. So avoid the temptation to do that. It could become a deal breaker. So the other party, everything is done and suddenly, oh, I forgot to tell you this. Now that is mainly to probably delay the deal or to make it a deal breaker. So it's called the red herring. You have to be extremely careful of that. This is what I said earlier, that someone else is the decision maker. So you should know whether the guy you're dealing with has the authority or does not have the authority. If he does not have the authority, tell him this is the time by which time you have to come back to me. Fishing, everything is done. Now just to get 1% extra, the other party may say, okay, while we are doing that, why don't you add something as a freebie to the deal? And you may be tempted to agree to it because you have reached 99%. Just this 1% you may have to agree with. Work out what is the cost, work out if it is a deal breaker, and then take a decision. People play games in negotiations, that is the truth. Everyone is very aggressive, and therefore you need to be psychologically very strong so that you don't get manipulated. So this we discussed, the bad behavior we have spoken about. Make sure everything is put in black and white. We've discussed this point. It's now or never. So sometimes the guy may tell you that either you accept it now or this deal is withdrawn. I'm never going to come back to you. 95% of the time it is just to pressurize you. He does not mean that. Okay. So don't get pressurized. Tell him, I cannot take a decision right now. Give me a day. I'll come back to you. So very important. This is last couple of slides I'll cover now. Try to understand the situation from other points of view. 6 and 9, a typical political climate in India today, right? Everyone is seeing things from their own perspective, and same thing happens in business also. So what you see as 6, the other party sees as 9. So it is important for you to see what is the other person's thing. And ineffective negotiation, if it is that, is bound to fail. So just a small cartoon, more often than not your salary will not stay with you till the month end. So don't negotiate with your salary. And effective negotiation is bound to succeed. So just you can quickly read through the joke. My laptop is out of battery, so while you read, I'm just going to fix it. Sorry, you must have seen this earlier. So I think this is from my side. I'm going to stop here and I would like to take some questions if you're there.
Yeah, there are many dozen questions and the time that we have at our disposal is 11 minutes. So I'll just select some of the questions and the moment we touch 8 p.m. IST, I'll alert you that we are actually time. Shubham wants to know a very basic question which many people have asked. How to negotiate with HR?
With HR?
Yes.
HR also you have to understand that the role of HR is to keep the employees happy. They are not enemy of the employees. At the end of the day, depending again what you're negotiating for, probably it's for salary, Probably it's a leave, it could be for increment, it could be a performance evaluation which is happening. Again, you need to be well prepared from the point of view of what you want, what value you add to the company. And you have to tell the HR very clearly, you see, this is what I'm doing. This is the amount I've saved for the company. This is the new business I've got from the company. This is how much I have been time efficient. This is how I helped the company in closing a deal. You should know how you've added the value to the company. And then only you will be able to then only you will be able to convince HR for a raise if that is being discussed. See how you've contributed and what the company is expecting from you. Make that meet, and that will be very successful for you.
There are many people who have asked questions as to opportunities in overseas market. To them, I would like to say that tomorrow we are dedicating our session only for this. There is a panel discussion on opportunities in overseas market. There is another panel discussion on opportunities in various sectors. So I'll request you and your friends to join us tomorrow for this. In this session, we'll only confine ourselves to questions on negotiations. Dharmishta wants to know how we can sell ourselves better.
Selling yourself is about so many things, right? I spoke about technical skills and I spoke about soft skills. So when you're selling yourself, let's take the example. Okay, I'll take 3 minutes. My job interview. Mr. Ranganathan had said earlier that I was the general manager for a large company, Emirates National Holdings. So let me tell you how I sold myself for that job. I was heading Ferguson and Deloitte for Middle East, and I wanted to move away from practice to industry. So I was heading the consulting wing, and I wanted to go and take some industry experience, right? How did I sell myself? I spoke to the CFO of the owner at that point of time, who was a banking CFO and who had brought this opportunity to me. And I understood exactly how his boss is, what he wants to hear. And he was a good friend. He's a fellow chartered accountant. You might have known him, Ramesh Mahalingam. He's an amazing guy in Dubai. And he's the one who brought me the opportunity. And I sat with him. I understood exactly what the boss wants, what the company is about, what are the problems they're facing, why they're replacing the CFO. And I prepared myself accordingly, right? So I knew the right answers. I knew what to ask. I understood what salary expectation is there. I knew from him that he's a person who likes fashion. He likes because he was a UAE national and very well-to-do UAE national. So I sold myself not only on the technical side. I prepared well. I knew what a banking CFO does. I understood the 15 businesses that are being carried on and how I can add value to this business. I dressed myself well. I spoke very confidently. I gave him a piece of paper saying that this is what a CFO job description is. And this is how I meet the job description. And that paper he was super impressed by. Now, depending on what you're selling yourself for, so I'm taking my own example of how I got the job. Now, getting a CFO's job, Mr. Ranganathan would know, getting a CFO's job when you've never played that role is extremely difficult because then you're typecasted as a consultant. You're typecast as an auditor. And you will not be accepted at a senior role in the industry, especially if you've not worked for those sectors. So what he's talking about, which sectors roles are available. So you sell yourself again, all the things I spoke about today, I found out what that person is looking for. And I got a 50% more salary within 3 months of joining than what he had given me initially. Exactly, we did the same thing. I said, give me 3 months. If I don't fulfill, I will resign. But if I fulfill what you're expecting out of me, you will give me the salary. He was true to his word and he gave me that 50% increase. So that's how I did it for myself. And it's a live example. You could do it again for yourself depending on how you're selling and what you're selling for.
Now, falling out of this, there is a question. Mr. Sampath Kumar says, how do I negotiate? I have only qualifications but no experience at all.
Very good question. So, therefore, you need to read a lot of books. I think we chartered accountants, when I saw my result, in those days, 96 when I qualified, nothing was digital. So we used to go on the board and see our name is there or not there. If the name is not there, finished. We have not cleared the exams. That day I decided I will not touch a book. But then slowly when I passed and the amount of study material that we read we all know what it is. But trust me, books are your best friends. Attend such seminars. Listen to the experts like me. Today I'm an expert. 24 years back I was like you, right? So read a lot of books. Books will be your best friends when you don't have experience. See what other people did. Read a lot of autobiographies. Read Stephen Covey's Seven Ethics of Highly Effective People. I mean, I'm giving one example, but you have to read. And based on this reading, you'll understand a lot more thing, and then you'll be able to implement. So when you don't have experience, please use someone else's experience.
Yeah, there is a question from Shrishti. She wants you to little elaborate about empathy. She says that empathy perhaps is not good to write in CV.
In CV?
Yeah, she said maybe CV is not a good thing to write. So would you kindly elaborate a little?
See, empathy is extremely important. Even if, see, you may or may not write in the CV. I'm not talking empathy from a CV point of view. But having a soft skill of empathy is today, tomorrow, you're going to work with your colleagues. One of your colleagues is very much down. Suppose he has some problem at his home, some dispute with his wife, and he is not able to perform. Now, at that time, if you're going to be too strict with him, okay, then it is not going to get any benefit for both of you. At that point, if you empathize with that person, go and help him do his duties which he is not able to fulfill. Imagine you have created a relationship for life. So empathy is for me a very, very important quality, because if you cannot understand the other person's point of view, right, you will not be able to close the deal effectively. And therefore, from a CV point of view, don't worry about it. You may not write empathy as a skill in the CV, but from a job point of view, from a negotiation point of view, it is a very important skill. So please do understand where the other person is coming from, what are his strengths and weaknesses, how you can assist the other person in closing the deal. It will help you a lot in the long run.
Ashish Day wants to know how to negotiate with people of other departments having completely different mindset.
So every department will have a different mindset. See, one of the worst departments is, suppose if you're internal audit, yeah, no department is going to like you, because every department feels you've gone there for fault finding. Okay. Or if you're production versus finance, sales versus production, sales versus finance, accounting versus bank. Every two departments will have a problem because they both have different objectives. A production department's objective is to increase the production. A finance department objective is to reduce the working capital. Now imagine production says, I want to produce 1,000 quantity. I don't mind keeping it in inventory. The finance guy is going to say, if you increase your inventory, my working capital increases, my cost of funds increases, my profitability decreases. So every department are going to work on different objectives. And therefore, before you start discussing with that department, you need to understand that objective and meet at a mid ground, where you need to understand why he wants higher production. Okay, maybe it is economy of scale, right? And that is why he is looking for. Maybe he has excess manpower. Maybe if he does not perform, the machinery does not perform to a particular level, the machinery will slow down or shut down or have some maintenance issues. So it's extremely important again to understand where the other person is coming from, so that you come and meet at a midway. Explain your position to him that, see, we cannot increase the interest cost too much, because overall we are working for a common profitability. If the profit goes down, we both are going to be in trouble. So what is it that we can increase company's profitability to? So please look at each other's department's objectives and then negotiate.
Sir, we are left with 2 minutes. So I'll just ask 2 more questions. There are several people who have asked about some finer points on preparations on negotiation. This will be the first question. Second question is whether you'll recommend some books to them on negotiation.
So what I'll do is I will send out a message to Pradeep, and probably he can share some names tomorrow with you. Finer aspects are, again, since now 1 minute is left, prepare. I think just prepare, understand the other person's viewpoint, go with your strengths and weaknesses, go with the other person's strengths and weaknesses. His weakness is your strength, your weakness is his strength. If you don't put that down on paper, you will fail in negotiation. So, but again, one word if you need for negotiation, it is to prepare. I can probably stop there.
Thank you so much, sir. We are just in time to welcome our new speaker. I would like to thank you profusely. Also, from a personal point of view, that I started my career at the institute when the president of the institute was from A. Ferguson,
Oh,
Mr.
wow.
Yashodhan Kale.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
through him, I knew many partners of A. Ferguson, and I'm really extremely impressed. I can also see in you the grooming is of A. Ferguson, which was, as I said, one of the largest companies at the time. Now it is from Deloitte. So the initial grooming in you is actually reflected there. Thank you so very much, sir, for a very wonderful session. So,
I just want to wish all of you sitting in India, please be safe, please maintain social distancing. These are tough times, so you need to take care of you and your family. Take care and join.
very well, sir. Tomorrow we'll expect the names of those books, which will communicate
I
to the
will,
students who wanted to know.
I will do that, sir. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Extremely grateful to you for your time
Thank
and
you,
for
sir.
sparing yourself for the ICA. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now the next speaker, I heartily welcome CA Ashwini Savrikar, our next speaker, who will be here speaking on leadership lessons from the corporate world. We began today with the communications, then we came to negotiations. Well, communication is very extremely important to negotiate, and you negotiate your way up the ladder to become a leader. And the third session is on the leadership. Before I hand over the stage to you, CA Ashwini Savarikar, let me introduce you to the audience today. CA Ashwini Savarikar is the past chairperson of Muscat chapter of ICAI. She has over 20 years of work experience in the finance industry in audit and risk areas. She is currently working as head of internal audit and risk for Arabia Falcon Insurance Company in Oman for the last 9 years. Earlier, she has worked for Deloitte and KPMG, Kotak Bank, and JP Morgan Chase. She is a chartered accountant, a certified internal auditor from Institute of Internal Auditors USA, and a CISA from ICAI USA. She is also a CFA charter holder from US and holds a certification in operational risk management from UK. And very interestingly, she is a singer. She sings well. She loves traveling, and she has traveled to 60 plus countries in the world, including Svalbard at the North Pole to Antarctica in the South Pole. She is a regular singer at different singing forums and has her own YouTube channel. Not to forget, she is a doting wife and a loving mother. C. Ashwini was recently included among India's top 100 women in finance by Association for International Wealth Management of India, the leading category. She will speak on the topic, leadership lessons from the corporate world. Over to you, C. Ashwini. Thank
you. Mahatma Gandhi ji, the father of our nation, he stated that be the change you wish to see in the world. Since I'm speaking today on leadership, today I take the liberty to modify this slightly and I say, lead the change that you wish to see in the world. Namaste. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much, Mr. Ranganathan, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you to CA Prabdeep Singh Baveja for approval. Kudos to the committee for members in industry and business, that CMIB, and the committee chairman, CA Hansraj Chuk, as well as the vice chairman, CA Durgesh Kabra, and their entire team for organizing this excellent initiative of 6-day executive development program for CAs who have recently qualified. Well, I wish I had something like this back in 1997 when I qualified. I'm seeing a galaxy of wonderful speakers who are talking on different subjects, varied subjects, and they're answering questions. It's really nice. And since I'm talking about leadership, I would also take this opportunity to thank the ICAI leadership, President Sir CA Nihar Jambusariya ji, Vice President CA Dr. Debashish Mitra, as well as the immediate past President CA Atul Gupta and his predecessor CA Praful Chatterjee, because I had a chance to closely interact with the two of them during my chairmanship on the Muscat chapter of ICAI. First of all, big congratulations to all chartered accountants who qualified in these recent times, November, December, or January, and who are attending today's event. I had asked Prabdeep ji about the composition of this new lot of CAs and was very pleased to note that the gender percentages are about 50-50. Well, that's really great. So, dear Chartered Accountant, the CA fraternity, Chartered Accountant, CA. So, when you introduce to anyone else, a new person, and you say that I'm a Chartered Accountant, you guys have recently would have started introducing yourself in this manner. So, when you say that I'm a Chartered Accountant, it sounds so nice, right? It carries certain weight. It commands respect. I'm sure that most of you would have experienced this already. And trust me, you will keep experiencing this at every stage and at every age in your career. Irrespective of even if you become very senior, you will still experience that. So when you introduce yourself to someone as a chartered accountant, their tone, their respect for you, the way they look at you will change. CA is a brand in itself. I mean it. Chartered Accountant is a brand in itself. It is a brand, and you all are today the proud achievers of this tag or title. You've earned this brand or tag for yourself with your hard work and perseverance. So you are the brand ambassadors. Now, why do you think a CA commands this respect? Why do you think when you introduce yourself to a stranger as a CA, they look at you differently and with the added trust? Why do you think this brand has this value? So please remember, friends, this is because of your predecessors, the many chartered accountants who did great service to the society, to the industry, to commerce through their professional work. They led the way. They were leaders. They are leaders. Even today, they are the ones who are showing the way, and they are the ones who have brought this profession or this brand to this value. And now you are in this position. It's your turn to lead. It's your turn to uphold the brand image of CA and to take the profession to the newer heights. So let me first share my slides. I have put up a few slides, and most of my talk will be talking part rather than too much matter on the slides. So let me first share my slides. Can you see the screen? Can you see my slides?
Yes, it is clear. Yeah, fine.
Right?
Yes, absolutely fine.
Okay, perfect. As I said, I will base my discussion, there will be no jargons, no quotes, no sayings. It's based on my own experiences. So throughout my initial 5 years when I was with audit firms, and later when I joined the industry, there were umpteen number of times and umpteen lessons which I learned, my observations, and this is what I'm going to share with you all. So to start with this, I'd first like to ask a question, and I believe everybody can type their answers in the chat box, right? Ranganathan ji?
Yes, absolutely yes. I'll just pick up some of those and read it out to you because they come in dozens.
Sure. So when do you think you will become a leader? So let's begin with that. When do you think you will become a leader? Today, accountant, you've just started your career. When do you think you will become a leader? And let's hear what everybody has to say about it. Give you a few minutes to think about it and give your answers. And mind you, there's no right or wrong answer. There is absolutely no right or wrong answer. And I can share one story while you are probably thinking of the answer. It was my first job, and it was I had joined a Big Four firm, and we had, I think initially we had this orientation program, training. This lady who came from overseas, and she was a trainer, and she was training all the new chartered accountants who had joined. It was a 2-3 days session, and it was about the interviewing skills and questioning, and she spoke about open-ended questions and closed-ended questions, right? So when you have closed-ended questions, there has to be a specific answer. It's mostly a yes or no kind of answer, and she asked all of us that if there was one answer which was right, irrespective of the situation, what would that answer be? And we all gave different answers to that. And ultimately, it turned out that whatever be the situation, if it is a closed question, the right answer is, it depends. The right answer is, it depends. And why did she say that? And then she explained, that if a client asks you about whether you can do this assignment for me, for a cryptic question, you cannot have an answer as yes or no. So it will always depend. It will depend on what kind of assignment it is, what kind of skill sets are required, what kind of time frame they are looking at, what kind of fees they are offering you. So whatever be the situation, the most appropriate answer for a closed question is it depends. But this question which I posed to you all is not a closed question. It's an open question, and that's why there won't be any right and wrong answer. So do we have any answers, Ranganathanji?
Yes, we have many answers. I'll just read some of them. Ramat Singh says, firstly, I'll have to start believing in me because only then others can trust me. Srinivasalu says, every day I believe I am a leader because every day I am changing. Riva says, when I can convince the people that I can pick them. And Rekha says, we should work with the same sense as a team member, not being bossy and showing power. Ishita says, now. She is already a leader. Yogesh says, when I lead a group of people. Munendra says, when you don't show that you are a leader, it comes from your behavior. Nalini feels that when others start following you, then you are a leader. Kapil says, when we become master in a particular field. Bajrang says, after 2 years. Priya says, when a responsibility comes to you. Some other people say, when Paras says, when I can influence others. Ashish says, when I'm able to lead a team. And there are many other answers. Many other answers.
Absolutely. I'm very happy to note these answers. Couple of those which I will take up. Somebody said that when you are responsible, well, now you are a chartered accountant. As I said, you carry this brand, you carry your responsibility on your shoulders already. And that's when you are already a leader. I totally agree with one of the answers that you are already a leader. And why wait for 2 years? One answer was 2 years. Why wait for 2 years? You are already a leader today. And we'll see what some of these things are. So, as I said, you are a leader. Of course, so obviously you have to lead. How do you lead? You show them the way. And some of the answers did mention. So when people are, when you show them the way, when you influence people, that's when you are a leader. People follow you, your example. So leading by example is the best. You inspire or motivate others. So when I came on the managing committee of the Muscat chapter, I was only lady. There was another lady before me, and she completed her term, and then for 3 years I was the only lady on the managing committee. But then I believe now when I stepped down and the new set of managing committee members came in, now we have 2 ladies on the committee amongst 8 people. So that I feel that I have inspired and motivated to come. So it was probably what through my example, if they got motivated. So inspiring others, motivating others. Yeah, am I audible? Okay. Yes. So as someone said, if you are found trustworthy, so yes, you need to instill that trust amongst your colleagues, among your bosses, amongst your co-workers. When you are found trustworthy, you are a leader. When they come to you for getting your issues resolved, when you are providing solutions, when you are able to think of solutions and discuss issues, that's when you are a leader. When you are respected, irrespective of your title or role or age. Now, this is something many people feel that, okay, when I have a team of 10 reporting to me, when I am a CEO, when I'm a CFO, that's when I become a leader. Well, no, I would say that you are a leader irrespective of your title, irrespective of the role that you're playing, irrespective of the age. Yes, with the chair that you occupy, there is certain sense of responsibility and there will be respect for the chair, but that is a respect for the chair or for that position. You as an individual, you are a leader when people respect you for what you are, for the contributions that you have made to the profession, to the company, or to whatever cause that you're working on. So when you're respected, irrespective of your title, role, or age, that's when you are a leader. Please feel free anytime if there are any questions. Ranganathanji, if there are any questions related to the slide or something around that, you can interrupt me in between. We can discuss those. And if not, then we can move to the next slide.
There are answers to our earlier question only where we are also many other people have also responded, right? So I think you can carry on. Is that this one?
Perfect. Right. As I said, to that question, there was no right and wrong answer. And I think one of them also said that only you can lead, then you are a leader. So that these are all right answers. And you guys have all come to the stage of you are a chartered accountant and you are already a leader. So there are some myths about leadership. As people say, I need a position or I need a title to be a leader. As we just said, that's not required. I need staff to be reporting to me to be a leader. No, again, that's not required. I need to be dressed in stylish suits and modern outfits to be a leader. Again, that's not a requirement. We see in movies how they show that the boss comes and that's how they command, the air of command or whatever. Those are superficial things. People might follow you for those things, but that's not really what leadership we are really talking about here. Some people might say, I'm just a fresher in my job. I've just started my practice. How can I be a leader? Someone said, after 2 years, I will be a leader. No, you are a chartered accountant today. You already have a responsibility. You already are a leader because you have the capability to show the way. You have a capability to lead by your example. There are a lot of things, even if it's your first day at job, your discipline, your meticulous approach, your ethical and principled approach. These are the things what will make people follow you right from day one. If you are handling 10 different projects and you are able to manage each project very well, you are showing a way to your rest of your colleagues and maybe even your seniors. They say that the busiest person has time for everything. So how you manage the time, that's important. How you maintain good health, and typically for we as chartered accountants, we have very sedentary lifestyles. So are you maintaining the balance? How do you maintain the work-life balance? How do you have a good, healthy family life, a good, healthy personal life, maintain yourself, and yet you are able to make contributions to the profession, to the job, to the practice that you're working at. These are all traits of a person who will be followed by other people. You are leading by example. So these are all examples of a good leader. A leader knows everything and he or she cannot say that I don't know. Again, this is a myth because nobody knows everything, right? Nobody knows everything, but to know what I know and what I don't know, that is important. So even if a person is a leader, yes, if he doesn't know something, he or she must say that I don't know, but the leader who says that I don't know will know how to find those answers. He or she will have the right means and right methodologies and approach to ensure that if such a practical situation arises, this is how I will find a solution, and he or she will be able to find a solution. So it's not necessary that a leader knows everything, but he or she knows how to find the way, how to navigate. If you are given a goal post and you don't know, there's no Google map and you don't know the path, but you know how to get there, how to get that path, how to navigate, that's when you are a leader. And the last one there is that a leader never makes mistakes. Again, that's a myth because a leader is a human being. A leader also can make mistakes. What's important is what is it that the leader does from those mistakes? How is it that the leader learns his or her lessons from those mistakes? Is a person repeating the mistakes? Repeating your own mistakes is a complete no-no. If you want to be a leader has to learn from his or her mistakes. Leader has to learn from other people's mistakes and graduate to the next level, go on to the next level. And so that's why even if he or she is a leader, can make mistakes.
Ma'am, there are a couple of questions on this.
Sure.
Slide.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Nalini wants to know how to deal with circumstances.
Sorry, your voice is cutting.
I said Nalini wants to know how you deal with the circumstance when somebody makes negative comments about the CA profession.
When somebody makes comments about
CA profession, our profession.
About the CA profession. See, people, if they are making negative comments, and even I've experienced that, and typically CA or MBA would be compared, and there would be situations, and you will face that. Happens. One has to understand: is it that the person has some bad experience? is there any reason why the person is making those comments? And you can always reason with them. So there's always a way to debate. There's always a way to professionally reason out with a person. And if they've not seen the good side, if not seen the merit in what, then you show it to them. You show it to them again by example. You show it to them how CAs have added value, how they have occupied senior positions, what is it that they've done, and how is it that you as a CA can add value to the company or to the cause that you guys are working together. So yes, there will be criticism. You will have to find a way how to counter that. You don't need to get into a fighting mode for that, but yes, you need to be able to reason out, to understand what the person is saying, what he or she is saying, and then counter that in a very professional way and a dignified manner.
When somebody criticizes
Manapanji, your voice is not very clear. I'm sorry.
am I clear now?
Yes, much better.
Yeah. I said that when somebody criticizes the CA profession before me, I just tell them pick up any 2 papers of our final exam and pass it. But then,
Absolutely.
yeah. Rekha wants to know
They
that she's
haven't gone through that grit.
Rekha wants to know that she's already handling a team, but there is one lazy and irresponsible person who doesn't listen in spite of counseling and advice. How to go?
Right. I think when you are leading a team, when you have people reporting to you, you will have people of different nature, different kinds. But for every person, there's always something which will motivate them. And every person will have their strengths and weaknesses. So you need to really find out, to reason with them, empathize with them. And I heard our previous speaker, there was a question on empathy to him, and he answered that. And even in one of my subsequent slides, I'm talking about empathizing. So if you're leading the team, you need to empathize with each of your colleague, with each of your teammate, and understand what are their issues. Why are they lazy? Are they not sufficiently motivated? Is the job not important for them? Or is it that they have some other interest? And I'm sure you will be able to find out that one thing which motivates them, that one thing which pushes them. Maybe the kind of project that they've been put in may not be interesting for them. So there will be different, the answer will be different depending on the situation and depending on the person. But yes, you need to try and step into that person's shoes and understand the situation and then deal with that person in a nice way. Because just because a person is lazy, if you start abusing him or her in front of other people, it's going to only get worse. The situation is only going to get worse because of that.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions which are interrelated. Srishti wants to know how does one manage time and how does one balance between time and health when one has to work for 10, 12 hours a day? And then connected to this, another question is from Gorika. She wants you to tell her, how did you manage singing profession as well as chairmanship of a chapter altogether?
Okay. So yes, both are related to time management. Yes, there will be times when you will have 10, 12 hours of work. Even I have faced issues when I had to sit late in the night because I have a report, the report to be finalized and sent out on that particular date. So there will be such days, but all 365 days are not similar. So you need to decide that, okay, take one day at a time, right? If you take one day at a time, you know what are your priorities today. And then over a period, maybe a 5-day week or a 7-day week, so long as you are able to do 3-4 days of exercise, that should be fine. So you decide your priorities for that targets. So within a weekly time I need to devote, how much time I need for my work, and then you will have these periods, finalization time, when you have to finalize some audits, you might have some deadlines, you might have some reports to be submitted. You will have those periods where you may not be able to do as much. You may have to give lesser priority to family, lesser priority to your physical health, which is acceptable so long as in the larger frame of things you are able to manage in the big picture, you know. Having said that, even if you're doing a desk job, You can put alarm for every 1 hour, stand up for a few minutes, and do a little bit of physical stretching of your hands and things like that. Maybe it will seem weird to other people, but then you're doing it for yourself, and that will ensure that you are having that flexibility. You don't end up with a stiff body. And whenever it's possible, you catch up with your sleep and you catch up with your missed out exercise schedules, missed out family times, to ensure that on the whole, you're able to maintain that balance. And on the second question about my singing, well, yes, during my chairmanship, it was difficult. But or the year before that, I joined a singing group here in Muscat, and we would have, I mean, this was of course pre-COVID, so we would have a program every month. And then there was my drive to the office when I'm sing my song or practice my song. So find ways to do it, and you will definitely find, you yourself will have the solutions how you want to manage your time the best.
From Preksha, he wants to have some few leadership tips for an introvert person.
For an introvert person?
Yes.
So if you feel you are an introvert person, it means that you can still be a leader, because see, there are introverts and there are extroverts, and that's just the way that you are probably not open and you don't talk much, right? So this is probably your weakness, and this is probably coming in your way, or this is what you feel is coming in your way. So first of all, you need to accept that, yes, okay, I'm an introvert. Talking doesn't come naturally to me, which is fine. Having accepted that, you will have to find ways, okay, what is the minimum amount of talking that I need to do? What is the minimum amount of socializing that I need to do? Maybe I need to get into the professional circles and at least get introduced to people. So what is the bare minimum that you have to do? Start there. Maybe you will start feeling less shy, or maybe you will start feeling more open to talk to people. Usually with introverts, the thing is that it's difficult for them to break the ice. So make some targets for yourself, that every week you yourself want to approach a new person, or every month you yourself want to approach a new person. To join some professional groups. There are study circles, there are chapters, there are discussion groups everywhere in India. Also, like we have chapters outside India. There are study circles locally in states and different cities. So join those groups. Join public speaking courses where you are pushed to speak, go on the stage and speak. So if you know that something is your weakness, you work on it. You work on it. And challenge yourself so that you are able to have which is required for you to flourish in your profession and be a leader in your position.
Yeah, that's all the questions for now on this slide. Any further questions come up? Definitely.
Sure. So we spoke about the myths, that what are some misconceptions about a leader. Now, to be a leader, you should. So what should you be? So you should be your own self. As they say, you should be your own self because everybody else is already taken, right? So if I am Ashwini Savrikar, I should be what I am. Yes, I will like some good traits and good things of other people. As the previous speaker said, I might read some autobiographies. I will learn from other people's experiences. But ultimately, my actions should be my own, with my own reasoning. So I need to be my own self. I need to add my flavor to what. That's what you need to be. Empathize, as sometime back we spoke. You have to empathize. You need to empathize with your colleagues. You need to empathize with the people who report to you. You need to empathize with your bosses and your seniors as well. There was a question, I think, even in the previous one, that how do you negotiate with the HR? Well, you need to empathize and understand. So what do you mean? Means that you try to put yourself in the other person's shoes and see why they are behaving in a certain fashion, right? Even for negotiation, you need that. To be a leader, you need that. So you really need to understand if your company is taking certain stand, if they are taking certain decisions, if they are not giving you some things which you want, why is it that it is happening? Empathize. You understand what's really going on in their mind. You empathize with your families. As whether you are a male or you are a female, you need support from your families to excel in your careers, because family is ultimately your backbone. If you are a male, you need support from your wife. If you are a female, you need support from your husband and your extended families. You will have deadlines. You may not be able to attend your child's birthday party. You need to empathize with them rather than when they get upset. If you get upset with them, again, why don't you understand it's my work? Sorry, it's not going to work, right? So you need to empathize with all these people who are there in your life, and only then you can be a leader in your position. Dare to follow your heart. What happens is many times, so these next 3 points are interrelated, because one needs to dare to be different and not follow the herd mentality. You must have seen horses who run the races. They are put blinkers, right? They are those things which are put on their eyes so that they should only see the road which is ahead, and they should not get disturbed by what's happening around. So these blinkers, generally what happens in corporate world is that past behavior or the legacy, this is how we've been doing. Many times you'll hear, this is how we've been doing this, and that's why we should do this. So these are blinkers. Don't get bogged down by these blinkers. Open up. Try to think out of the box. Dare to be different. Do not just follow, just because there are 10 people in the room and 8 people say there are 2 options, they go with option A. Without questioning, don't accept it. You follow your heart. If you feel there is a merit in option B, at least you raise it. You reason it out. So when you don't agree, or when more people are on the other side, but you genuinely believe that the other option is better, reason out. As a professional, try to understand their reasons. Even as, like, I work as an internal auditor. So when we have audit observations and we have to explain to the auditee that why do I feel that this is my observation and there is a risk attached to that, we give a risk rating high, medium, low. If I'm giving a risk as high, obviously they're not very happy with it, and they try to reason that no, this is not a high risk, this is a medium risk, this is not even a risk. Why are you pointing this? I know what I'm doing. I know my job the best. So either you have to get convinced or you have to try to convince the other person. The point is, you are a leader if you dare to follow your heart. You dare to speak your mind. That doesn't mean that you have to object everything just for the sake of objecting it. That's not what I'm trying to say. If you agree, if you feel the approach being taken is right, fine, you go ahead with it. But if you feel it's not right, then you need to dare to follow your heart. You need to dare to be different and not follow the herd mentality. Do not carry the blinkers of past behavior or the legacy behavior, or don't fall into the trap that this is how things have been done and this is the reason why we should continue in the same manner. So question the practices in a right manner with the right interest. If you're doing it for the client, your client's interest. If you're doing it for your company, with your company's best interest in mind, question these things, and maybe you'll come up with something different, something unique, which will add a totally new dimension, and that's when you will be a leader. You will face a lot of ethical dilemmas, and that's when you will. So ethical dilemma, I'm not sure whether it was, I think it was discussed probably in yesterday's session by the speaker, I believe. Ethical dilemma is where you will have to choose between 2 nearly right things. If you have to choose between the client and the company, is your customer and the company, right? Whether it's the company's interest or the customer's interest, giving more discount to the customer. The company loses the sales revenue, but the customer is happy. So which is right? This is a very simple one. There could be other dilemmas where you are into practice and clients are approaching you to help them legitimize their illegal maybe activities, right? So this is probably one of the ethical dilemmas which you will be facing in your life, professional life. Whether you need to look at short-term approach or long-term approach, because if you look at it in a short-term view, your action might be different, and if you take a long-term view, your action might be different. tax evasion versus tax planning. So again, there is a very thin line between these things, and you will be facing these dilemmas. You need to, in such situations, you need to read what is the right approach, why you should be suggesting or why you should be doing what you're doing. So tomorrow, if somebody asks you why you have taken this decision, why you have advised your client in so and so manner, remember that you as a chartered accountant could be questioned, and if you are happy to give that answer to anyone and in front of anybody when being questioned, then you are doing the right thing. So you will face these ethical dilemmas, and how you deal with them will decide how good a leader you are. Or if you are able to face these dilemmas very well, then you are a leader. One needs to be part of the solution than the problem statement. And again, this happens when you go as an internal auditor, because internal auditors, they say they are doing a fault finding exercise. You are giving problems statements. So you have to be part of the solution. In one of my companies, the CEO told me that, okay, fine, whatever is there, and this was a general comment which was given to all the department heads, that do not come to me with the problem. If you have a problem, come to me with suggested solutions, and then we can go through it. This thing stayed with me because when you are a department head, when you are leading something, when you want to be looked up to and followed as an example, you don't just state problems. Yes, if there are problems, you need to bring them out, but you need to think of possible solutions. You can think of, okay, these are the 2 solutions, 3 solutions. This is a cost benefit analysis. These are the pros and cons if you go with option A. These are the pros and cons if you go with option B. This is my suggestion, and these are the possible things. And now let's decide. Let us as a team, let's take a call on how we want to address this problem. So when you are part of the solution rather than being part of the problem statement, that's when you are a leader. You have to have a courage to stand up and call a spade a spade. So many times, as I said, either the past practices, wrong practices, the way things have been happening, you need to be able to have that courage to say that if something is wrong, say that it is wrong. And when you say that it is wrong, you need to be able to give justifications, proper professional justifications and your reasons. So if I'm saying that so and so thing is an issue, I need to be able to justify if this is happening, this is the reason, this is a risk it is causing to the company, and this is probably a reputation risk, probably regulatory violations, probably financial loss. So these are the reasons. So when you reason out with people, most of the times you will find that people are reasonable. They will listen to you, and there will be an open discussion on that. So you need to have the courage to stand up and call a spade a spade. This is what you need to be to be a leader. So if there are any questions, we can take again at this stage.
No, there was a question which is relevant to tomorrow's issue. I'll just like to clarify that people want to know about career switch. Well, tomorrow we have a panel discussion on career opportunities in overseas market as well as career opportunities in various sectors. Please do join us tomorrow for that. As of now, the questions have not come. In case any questions come, I'll definitely tell you, ma'am.
Perfect. So as a leader, these are the thoughts, these are my learnings through my journey. Communication is the key. And what is communication? Just if I make a statement, is my communication complete? No, it is not. I believe today's first session was on communication, right? Am I right? So there must have been an elaborate discussion on.
Yes, madam. First session was on communications.
Right. So I'm sure there must have been an elaborate discussion on that. So as a leader, communication is the key, and communication is complete only when my point is well understood by the other person in the same manner. If I'm calling something blue, the other person should understand it as blue and not as green. So communication is the key. So for a leader, be strong but not rude. So when you want to put across a point, like in the previous slides, we said that you need to be able to call a spade, or you need to be able to dare to be different, dare to present your heart. Be strong. Whenever you're presenting a point, be strong, but you don't need to be rude about it. You can be very polite and yet make a strong point. So always debate based on facts and observations, and give evidences for that. That's when, so give arguments which people, if you believe in those, and there are factual things which are substantiating your arguments, then there's no reason why people should not agree with you. And that's when people start agreeing with you. You are a leader. So be strong, but not rude. Be assertive, but not arrogant. Arrogance takes you nowhere. So how much ever good you may be in your judgments and in your work, if you're arrogant and if you don't treat other people in with the same professional dignity as you want yourself to be treated, then you are no good and you can never be a leader in the true sense. There are people in positions who are rude and arrogant, and people will just tolerate them till the time they are in that chair, and the moment they are off the chair, they will lose all respect, and probably even that respect is a respect for the chair and not for that person. So be strong but not rude, be assertive but not arrogant. Take decisions. As a leader, people take decisions. So how much of a junior or how much of a senior you may be in your organization, in your company, in your firm, or in whatever that you're doing, you need to be able to take. That's where you have to look at the entire problem or the issue or the case that you have in front of you, and you need to be able to analyze it from all directions. In risk management, we talk about if there is a solution, what is the downside, what is the upside. So when you are evaluating different options or different solutions to a problem, you look at the downside, you look at the upside, you look at the cost, you look at the benefit. You look at all these aspects and the implications of those decisions, and then you take the decisions. A leader is always able to take decisions, and that's again a capability that you need to develop over a period. So it's not easy. For some people it comes easy to take decisions, for some people it doesn't. Like one of our friends who asked about being an introvert. If it's in nature to be introvert, you need to work on it. If it doesn't come easily to you to take decisions, work on it. About it. Read how people have been successful in taking decisions in the past. Talk to people how they take their decisions. Follow a meticulous approach for that. But taking decisions is an extremely important aspect of being a true leader. Say no when you have to say so. That's again, I have always found that it's very important. Whether it's a situation in front of a client, you don't want to lose the client and the client is asking for something. But if the thing which has been asked is beyond you in a nice manner. If you're saying no also doesn't necessarily mean that you will lose the client, because you might say that, okay, fine, today I have this capability, but I will come back to you in a day or two. I can talk to a few of my professional colleagues and we can together provide you these services. Right? That could be one way of saying no. You might be going for interviews, job interviews, and you don't know the answer to a particular question. But how do you know? So even in that situation, you should be able to say no, because it's better to say no rather than giving a wrong answer and making a fool of yourself. If you're saying no in an interview, in a job interview, it's again a very tricky situation, because then you're risking not getting that job. And if it's your dream job, again, you don't want to lose that opportunity. So how do you say no in that interview? If you want to say no, you say that, fine, I do not have an idea about this particular question that you're asking, but if I'm faced with this thing in a practical life, if I'm joining this company and I'm faced with this situation in the practical scenario, this is the approach I will follow and this is how I will find an answer to that. So not knowing an answer is not a problem, but not knowing how to get that answer is definitely a problem. So you can say no, that yes, I don't have the answer today, but this is how I will find an answer if I'm faced with this situation. So that's how you will have to say no in a nice manner. Make mistakes, but learn from them. So as we said some time back, even leaders make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. We are all human beings, right? And I remember one instance from Articulation, and I joined right after 12th standard A foundation exam at that time. So I was not even a BCom graduate. And in the initial few months, there were mistakes from my side. And then my boss, he said, okay, yesterday you made this mistake, today you're making a different mistake. And though I was just a fresh article, I had the courage to tell him, sir, yes, I'm sorry I made this mistake, but yesterday's mistake I've learned 1, 2, 3, 4, and you will see that I will never repeat that mistake. And today's mistake, it's in a different area, it's a new thing because I did not know about it. But again, I promise you, I will not make this mistake again. So that's, I think, a very important point. We all make mistakes, but we learn from them. Unless you learn from your mistakes, you cannot be a leader. So repeating a mistake is a complete no-no. You cannot repeat your mistakes. Leaders learn from their mistakes. They, in fact, even learn from other people's mistakes. In fact, they say that if you have a very good boss or supervisor, you learn from them, you learn from their behaviors, and you try to imbibe those qualities. If you have a not so good boss, you learn how you should not be when you are leading the team, right? So whatever the situation, you learn from those situations, and you learn from other people's mistakes as well. Never look down on others making mistakes. You know, there are situations, and even I have two of you in meeting, and the customer or client is asking a question, and your colleague has given the answer, and you know that your colleague is not very sure of it, and probably you will even know that what he's answering is not right. So is it going to help saying that, oh no, you are wrong, this is not the right answer? Is it going to help anyone? It will create a bad impression in front of the client. It will put down your colleague, and he's going to feel bad that he took you along. And it's going to probably spoil the assignment for your company or your audit firm. So rather than that, you need to take it in a stride. You need to say that, okay, no, this is fine, and I would also like to add that. And then you mention your facts. So you do it in such a way that you give the correct information to your client, and you ensure that the right information stays with him. And then individually, when you're talking to your colleague, you can explain to him, look, my friend, this is what it is, and get a message when you give the right information to the client, a message that, yeah, maybe I gave something, I mentioned something which is not so correct. So do not look down or do not put down your colleagues if they are making mistakes. Rather, take them along. That's what a right leader does. If you're doing that, people will be happy to go with you as their colleagues, and they will look up you, and they will try to follow you as an example. Very important thing, you must know your strengths and weaknesses. Every day, every situation, every assignment, every company that you're working with, you have to do a SWOT analysis. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities, and what are my threats? So maybe it's the competition is a threat, or the competition not doing so well is an opportunity. My weakness, being an introvert, so that is his weakness, is to work on it. So whatever are the weaknesses and the threats, work on them. Whatever are your strengths and your opportunities, push through them. So you have to be able to do this SWOT analysis every single day. Okay, today's day, I have too many meetings. I don't have much of gap between them. So I'm going to be time crunched. Maybe I will not have time for my physical exercise today. So that's your chart for that day. So every day you need to do a kind of SWOT analysis, and for every assignment, for every client, for every company, you need to keep doing that. And that's when you will be able to lead, and you will be able to achieve success on the assignments. And one more, and probably the last thing from my side, is never stop learning. We learn from mistakes, and we should learn from mistakes, and a leader does learn from his or her mistakes and never repeats those mistakes again. We have to learn from other people's mistakes as well. The moment you stop learning, you stop being a leader. Then you are following an approach of my way or highway. That right from your day one that you've become a chartered accountant and you joined a new company, till the last day, maybe at your age of 60, 70, when you say that, okay, now I want to just retire and be at home. So right from starting of your career to end of your career, every day you should be learning something new. And believe me, trust me, you could learn something new from totally unexpected factions, totally unexpected areas. Even the office boy could could give you some idea, could tell you something more about how you could manage tackle a particular issue. So people know their tasks the best, and when you're discussing things with them or when you see them working, there's always something that you can learn from them. So never ever stop learning. It can be certifications, qualifications. It can be seminars and conferences where there is discussion and you interact with your alma mater and you read about in the professional magazines, journals, and then your experiences and experiences of your other colleagues. So each of these is teaching you something, provided you are open to assimilate that, absorb that, and learn from that, and then improve it in your behavior and make some changes in how you've been doing things because you've learned something new. So never ever stop learning, and that's what you need to do as a leader. So I'm open for any questions.
Yeah, there are several questions. Shrishti wants to have some tips on how to have effective communication with seniors.
Okay. So see, I think first thing, and this is what I used to face when I started career. It becomes very overwhelming sometimes when I have to talk to a person who's senior in the company or who's probably very senior in the position, right? But that's when you need to first realize that, okay, even that person is a human being. And if I'm talking sense, the person will listen to me. So the first thing is whatever you want to communicate, the subject matter, you should know very well. In my company, when we had a new CEO joining, it was a company merger that happened, and the new CEO had come from the other side. We are in such situations that the people who are from the one company is taken over by the other company. So the people from this side of the company could be asked to leave, and there's a kind of evaluation which is going on at all the times. So though it was supposed to be a 5 minutes meeting with my CEO, the new CEO who came from the other side, I prepared one full page of all the bullet points, and I had crisp points what I had to discuss with him. So whenever you are talking to any senior people or even any persons, prepare for that meeting. When I became the chairperson, we have a practice that when we do CPE sessions, the beginning, the chairperson gives a welcome address, and it's typically 2 to 3 minutes, maximum 5 minutes of talk, which is to be given. To write it down, right from good evening friends. So word I used to write it down, and till date I write down whatever I'm supposed to speak. Your experiences, you can always talk about it and elaborate it more, but you need to have your basic points, your bullet points, your matter, the meat as they say. You need to have it ready, and you need to have a solid meat, solid substance in the points that you want to make. And if you have that, how much of a senior the person may be, he or she will have to listen to you, because they are all interested in knowing things which are in the best interest of the company or are in the best interest of the client. But if you don't have a point, you just want to make an impression, then you'd rather keep your mouth shut and not talk. So rather than making a bad impression, you can rather stay away from that.
Ramat Singh wants to know how can introverts practice to be able to put forth their point of view.
Again, I think when you want to put forth your point, you write it down. So be specific, be crisp, clear what the points are. Study what is it, who are the other people, what are the points, what are their strengths and weaknesses, what is it that they want to hear, what is it that the idea that might sell. As an internal auditor, if I have to convince the other person, what is it that might convince the other person? If I'm talking to the company management, then I need to talk about how this will help you in minimizing expenses and maximizing your income. If I'm talking to the board, I need to talk protection of the company's assets and long-term views. If I'm talking to a very junior person, I need to talk to him or her about how this will reduce your daily strain of work and how it will ease out your the work that you're doing if these controls are put in place. So whether you are an introvert, and if you are an introvert, more so you need to have all your points written, because then you might not be able to think of something out of the box at that point in time, which is fine. Write it down. Take some extra efforts. Put down all your points. Carry a notepad with you always. And depending on who the people are and what they would like to hear. Because see, it's like an elephant, right? Everybody would be knowing the story of the blind man and the elephant. So if I'm touching a different part of the elephant, I feel a different. If I'm touching the trunk, I will feel that the elephant is having a long trunk. If I'm touching the tail, I'll feel something different. If I'm touching the main body, I will feel that, oh, this is how an elephant is. So depending on what the person wants to hear, you should know that part of what you want to say. And again, your version might have to change when you are talking to different people. So give them what they want to hear and prepare yourself. Prepare very well. Note down your points. Carry your notepad. Try to listen to the other person. So if you ask the other person, okay, what do you think? What are the issues? Are you having any issues? When you talk to them, you listen to them. What are their issues? That's when you can decide how to talk to them in a better manner and communicate with them in a better manner.
Yeah, there are a couple of members who asked questions on office politics. Prashant and Divakar. Prashant particularly wants to know how you deal with office politics when it is particularly coming from your seniors.
Whether we like it or not, that's there in everywhere, and for different reasons. It could be gender based, it could be I mean, I don't want to mention the reasons, but yes, it is there. Again, I think as a professional, we have to try to maintain as independent. So we have to try to stay away from that, and we do not take sides just because someone is a male or a female, just because someone is a boss is right and someone is of from this state or this language speaking person. So there could be different reasons. If you have to fight those politics, you might, I mean, there will be situations where you get caught between that. I'm not sure how much I can talk on this call. But then yes, as far as possible, one has to maintain a neutral stand. Again, as I said at the beginning, you are a chartered accountant, you carry responsibility. The actions of today will ensure or will help the respect that this profession commands. So what your predecessors have done, you carry that responsibility for the future generations to come. So try not to indulge in that, and if you feel you are getting caught in that, try to reason out, try to explain to people why you think that you are getting caught into that politics, and to reason with company's best interest. So that's something which always works. So whether how much ever people might have political prejudices and things like that, when you talk about what's in it for the company, what's in it for the client, the suggestion that I'm giving, the solution that I'm giving is in the company's best interest, most of the times people will listen to you, and you probably will try to save yourself from those prejudices. So make an attempt to do that. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, we are just left with 2 minutes, so I just request whether you can take one more question, although there are several more questions which we don't have time to cover. One Mr. Chandrasekharan has appreciated your session. He says, I enjoyed your session, ma'am. I just would like to know, how did you handle resistance from management or the employees on your audit observations or any other proposals you made?
Yes, that's a very valid question and interesting one. In fact, internal auditors, when I joined my company as an internal auditor, it was an impression which was created that these are fault finders and they will only find your faults. And it took a lot of time and efforts from my side to explain to people that I'm not in a fault finding exercise. And so again, I would talk their language. So I would tell them, okay, this is my observation. And I feel that because of this is a risk that the company is facing. You are the department head. And if you don't, if there's a case where there are no preventive controls or there are no maker checker controls. So if you tell them this could go wrong because of this observation which I have made, there's an internal control weakness. This is what can go wrong. And this is how it might hurt you as a department head. Reason with the other person. Maybe the person has genuine reasons or some other ways how he or she has already handled that issue. Happens, agree to drop that observation. So when the people see over a time that you are genuine in your approach, you are not trying to put them down, rather you're trying to help them in improving their processes, in improving the controls, and you are trying to add value to their own job, they will over a period listen to it, they will see through it, and their initial prejudices or initial resistance that will be there, it will fall down. Today, in fact, I'm very happy that my colleagues from the other departments, they in fact come back to me asking for advice. Okay, this is a situation, this is a issue we are facing with other departments. Can you tell us how we can handle this better to smoothen the process? Because they've seen me work with them on how to improve processes rather than saying that you did this wrong and that is why this is your fault and you did this wrong. So it should not be with a fault finding intention. It should be with the intention to genuinely help that person, help that department, company, and people will see through it, and the resistance will fall apart.
Ma'am, we are just in time, and we will not be taking any further questions. Thank you so very much. It was a very wonderful session. And I'm very grateful to you for your time and efforts, and also thankful to ICAI that I got opportunity to meet you. And I definitely feel all our youngsters would be immensely benefited by you. And my dear colleague, Mr. Prabdeep, has also joined us. He was actually attending some other meeting. So for the closing remarks, I'll request Mr. Prabdeep Baveja to kindly take charge. Mr. Prabdeep.
Thank you so much, Ranganathanji. My sincere apologies to our three today for attending a very important meeting which is still going on. But as this was the closing time here, I thought I'll take opportunity to say goodbye and thank you to all Mr. Rahamon Rai, CA Rajiv Shah. Sorry, Mr. Rahamon Rai, CA. Sorry. There's a disturbance here. My apologies. Yeah, is it fine now?
Yeah, fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah. So thank you to Mr. Rahamon Rai, CA Rajiv Shah, and CA Ashwani for their encouraged sessions today, and tomorrow we are on the 5th day, very important day, where a panel discussion on opportunities abroad and your career in different areas of practice, which you have been asking us significantly. So tomorrow we will have more than 10 speakers. So therefore, please take out your time, be here, and looking forward to see you tomorrow. Take good care of yourself, and good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.